welcome back everyone to our Marvel Plus review of Loki, titled
Chaos Control!
And today, as you can plainly see, we're not on our couch. No, today we're actually on someone else's couch for once. Everyone meet Joe and Gigi, they're good friends of ours. Gigi here is our resident horror expert, and Joe is equally the expert. They are here to join us as we talk about overall Season 1 of Loki. As I mentioned before, at the end of the last episode we did, we're kind of reflecting on it a lot. I know a lot of people didn't agree with our opinions of how the last episode ended, and looking back on it, I could see we were a bit harsh, but honestly the frustration's still there. But we've been talking with these two throughout the entire run, and they have their opinions, we have ours. So now today's episode is us basically reflecting on Season 1 overall and seeing if maybe our minds have changed a bit on certain things.
I know mine certainly has, at least in some aspects. Yeah, I'm definitely still frustrated by the ending. I think, yeah, the pacing's still a huge issue, especially with the establishing shots. But yeah, I mean, on the whole, I still very much enjoyed the season.
And why don't you two give a little history in regards to this show and how you've been experiencing it so far?
Well, I mean, we've been watching it like everybody else, and being the Tom Hiddleston fan that I am, I had to watch it. I'll be honest, I thought it was fine. Nothing amazing. I mean, the thing for me is that when Disney Plus started all their new shows, they started with WandaVision, and you can't top that.
Yeah, you really can't.
So
that was really out there.
Yeah, so to me, it's like they set themselves up way too high, and you can't really go any higher than that, because that was nominated for like every Emmy, wasn't it?
About, I think.
It was, and I loved it. So going from that to this, it was like, well, I mean, what do you think?
WandaVision wasn't originally supposed to be the original flagship show. It was going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier. I kind of feel like maybe they had the better product on their hands with WandaVision, so they decided to lead with that, put that forward, and try to get as many people on board with Disney Plus as they could. And I'm not even saying Falcon was bad, I mean, you know, but it was just kind of like, it was like typical, you know, it was typical Marvel. Well, WandaVision was a little bit better in that sense, a little bit more to it. I think Loki really kind of was too. I think that it overall was a success. I'm not going to say it was like a resounding success or that it was totally mind-blowing. I think, like, you know, there's a lot of gaps to fill. They had some really good ideas. They knew what they wanted to do. I didn't even mind the last episode. I go back with comics. Like, I remember Kang the Conqueror. I don't know how much of this character represents Kang, but I know that also what he's doing kind of makes sense. Like, they've done stuff like that in Marvel before. That's been like this in the comic. Stuff like Doctor Strange and Thor and a bit more of the cosmic profile of comic book characters. They would do these multi-dimensional things, and then the main villain, he would talk about it, you know, and basically explain it for, you know, 30 frames while being menacing in his own way. And I think
He starts monologuing.
He starts monologuing.
Starts talking about how feeble I am and how inevitable my defeat is and how the world will soon be his.
I know.
Yeah.
It was disappointing. It really was. Let's not pretend here.
He is just a variant of one guy who learned about interdimensional everything. So in a sense, he's like Rick, right? He is a variant of this person, and all of himself learned it at the same time.
He's the dumb Rick. Like in that one with
Possibly.
the bowl cut.
Not so much the dumb Rick, he's the bored Rick.
He's Apple.
He's so bored with his existence, he's like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, so what way can I kill myself in the most, like, fucked up way possible that screws everyone else in the process?
The most fucked up way possible that's PG. Because there are ways to do it that, you know, the kids won't get scarred by.
But it still involves murder. Lots and lots of murder.
Yeah.
He just wanted something new to happen. He's stuck doing the same stuff all the time, and it's gotten tedious, and then he found out that he is destined, the Lokis come eventually. So he's ready for this moment. He's excited, he's giddy, he doesn't know what is going to happen. I mean, he knows what's going to happen.
He sets it up.
He read the
He
script.
sets it up to happen.
He sets it up to happen, but it's something
I watched
different.
that on the ground.
Well, he did. He literally showed them the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if he did show it to them, you think they would want to read it?
They probably think he was lying.
I know, but
Sylvie
you
would.
can't say you wouldn't be curious.
Yeah, I
know. But but I don't know. I do have a lot of feelings about that episode, but I don't want to jump the gun because I know we have a lot of other things to discuss.
Yeah, I'm trying to structure this the best way possible because I don't want to do an episode by episode thing because that's a lot to remember given how long these episodes are. Again, there's like stuff that ties into everything, so forgive me if I whip out my little list here. That's the best way I keep things organized.
Oh, won't you think of the children?
Actually, if I may, they do think about the children because, as a horror fan, yes, I'm used to fucked up shit. Spoilers. And there were certain things in Loki that I know kids watch it, so they have to do things a certain way, but it didn't need to be like that. Another example I have is when they put Loki like in timeout, basically. It's supposed to be the worst memory of his life, or something like that. And it's just literally his friend slapping him and kicking him in the nuts. And I'm like, that's the worst thing you could give him that will break him. And it's just like, no. It's the worst thing you could do that'll break him for like toddlers.
I mean, it scarred him mentally, her saying that he's alone and he always will
I
be.
guess, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like there are other ways to do it, but like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I have a really dark
Not to
sense of
mention he
humor,
has to
so.
endure it like over and over and over.
I mean, how many times can you stand
Yeah.
a kick to the nuts?
Well, I wouldn't
She's
know.
got big thighs.
I'd still call that torture.
I guess.
She's a god like Thor is, so if she has his strength, imagine that's in the nards every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's true, but I'll be honest, I do wonder if they did that because of that, but also because Lady Sif's death was cut from the original movie.
Oh, so she is dead.
To give her another moment, why like that?
It was cut. All of his friends were dead, and they had a scene where they were gonna show it. They filmed it, but then they cut it, I guess, because of editing or whatever. It's because they had too much going on. So I'm wondering if maybe that's why they did it. They were like, "Oh, we're so sorry about Sif. Well, here she is. You know, she may be dead, but she's here right now."
At least we get some explanation of that.
Yeah. So maybe that's why. Which I mean, it wasn't bad, but I just feel like I don't know.
Well, I mean, if it's just a deleted scene, then it's not canon, and they could still go back on that and say that they're still alive.
I'm not dead.
Getting better.
It's a multiverse, baby. Just pluck someone else out.
Yeah.
And I have to say, having a multiverse is brilliant. Because it's like that thing from The Simpsons where they're talking to Xena. It's like, well, what about this? Oh, which did it? Well, what about this or that? What's the multiverse?
Wizard did.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's been established in the comics that there's multiverses.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and that doesn't even just go for Marvel. That goes for like DC as well.
And
It's
other
like,
things.
Yeah. No, the
I know.
multiverse is established, so
Right, no,
it's not like they're just pulling something out of their ass.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I know that. It's
Yeah.
it's been established since what, the 60s or something? I'm just saying it's smart because if you're backed up against a corner or you do something that's inconsistent, be like, well, it's the multiverse. You know, it doesn't have to make sense.
We can stick Thanos in a dress and it'll make sense.
These things here, these beautiful gems, only operate in the universe that they're part of.
These glorious
so
paperweights.
if Thanos would
That's
snap
their
his
glorious
fingers
purpose.
to walk into a different multiverse dimension, he'd be stranded there because his gems would be worthless.
So that's why they're paperweights and they just sit there, I guess. You'd think they make jewelry.
Although, doesn't he
Right.
technically create an issue with the timeline when he goes back in time to take the gem
I don't
from
know,
Vision?
girl. I don't know.
I don't know. It
That
just
was supposed
raises
to
too many
happen, Doug.
questions.
Time travel
Doug, that
is
was
always
supposed to
confusing to me.
Time travel is frustrating.
It
It's
is!
just warped and time is bendable.
And it is, and I don't. That's why sometimes it bothers me in certain things. Like it depends on how it's done. If it's Twin Peaks and how they do it in Vegas shit, okay, I guess you could get away with it. If you're doing it like Doctor Who, where there's like what, a bazillion rules and all kinds of things going on,
You don't even want to get
You
into
don't
the
even
Doctor
wanna.
Who
Right, that's what I mean.
shit of that.
It seems confusing. It's just confusing.
Yeah.
So it just kind of makes me dizzy.
And it's never good writing. Anything with time travel, it's like the more you think about it, the more you're just ripping it to pieces, you know?
Or in certain cases, you just make a bunch of snakes that just kill each other.
Yeah, even shows and movies that like establish the rules of time travel, they're always breaking it.
Yes.
It's just again, there's no consistent rules with time
Yeah.
travel. You can do friggin' anything, and it either does or doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's very confusing. But I guess time is confusing itself. So, but that's getting too philosophical, and we don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Ha! We don't have time for that. It's so funny.
Time is illusion, like pants.
Well,
Answer
then,
for squares.
well, then what are you doing?
I don't think any of us are wearing pants.
We're wearing shorts.
You can't prove
So
it.
what's your excuses?
Well, I'm just 2 ducks in a man costume.
Quack! I knew it! Get him, Loki Skater.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a few talking points here. Again, I tried to organize this, try to like go over certain topics and stuff that we again addressed in our past videos, but I figured all of us can chime in on what we think, if rather we changed our minds or you guys have to say that's different than ours. So I'll be posting it above our heads in editing, so you'll see what I mean here.
Because just like time travel, it can be confusing.
I'm the editor, I can do anything.
Part 1.
I can put us upside down and invert our colors if I want to.
Part 1, what the fuck is wrong with you?
See?
Why is there blood rushing to my head right now?
Alright, so I guess we'll start off talking about Loki himself. So, what did you all think about Loki, aka Tom Hiddleston, his performance, and his overall character arc?
Girl, you know what I think.
I know that.
Boy,
I will be completely honest, I've said this to him, I'll say it on camera. If Tom Hiddleston was not in this show, I don't think I would have been able to like it as much. And I'm not just saying this because he gave me a lady boner, I'm saying this because he's a genuinely good actor. He said he loves playing this character. And I think he has said he would play it forever if he could. So you can tell with that passion, he drives it. And that's what sells it. If your main character is someone that is just so charismatic and so like believable, it works.
And not to mention, he's really having fun with the role.
Yes!
Yeah,
oh god, yes. You can always tell.
Yeah.
And that
everyone's
makes you have
having fun. Everyone's having
Yeah.
fun in it. Everyone has a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
The acting and the actors, they're all really doing their part, I think. And Tom, he proved that he can carry it all, basically, on top of it.
It's like the new Billy D. Williams or James Woods.
Oh, that's interesting.
What time is it? Because I gotta go.
Yeah, I still maintain my opinion before. Tom Hiddleston was amazing in this, and here's the thing. I am not a Tom Hiddleston fangirl like others are. I mean, I leave that to you. But I can see now more so what his appeal is. Because before it was like, okay, he's just another generic villain, and okay, maybe he has the potential to be redeemed in a way, so he's at least entertaining. But in this case, like, I actually got to see his range and what he can do, and certain things really won me over, like him speaking Latin. I'm like, wow.
Oh, the song? Or
Like, not just the song, but like in Pompeii when he's like speaking to everyone as they're about to die.
That was funny.
I know, I'm like, wow, that sounds really fluent. Like
Latin's hard.
And he's apparently like studied that too, so he fluently knows it.
I think he knows multiple languages.
Yeah, that really impressed me.
He also has to play a version of himself that hasn't experienced things in the timeline yet, and so he actually has to go and be the outsider seeing them happen to him, and to see him react.
Yeah, that was sad. But it's also, if you think about it, this is a totally different Loki, because we've seen what happens to the other one. We know that Loki, but this is a whole other one in a way.
He goes from murderous Loki to like totally redeemed Loki.
Yeah,
it's not just
that
gradual
bad.
over the movies.
Yeah, but again, just seeing him react to that stuff, that was just like, wow.
Yeah, I've heard some people complain that his arc was way too quick. They said like, oh, it happened over a clip show. And I'm like, well, yes and no. I mean, these are still people he cares about, despite what he may say. And it still affects him when he sees them die, when he sees how they react when he dies.
Who's to say when the arc ends? Because I figure if it's a character arc, it would be the whole show. I figured this would just be the start of that arc.
I know.
So,
I know, again, some people like say like, oh, his arc is completed in the first episode. I'm like, no, it's still going. It's
just mainly to get him to the beginning of his arc, really.
Exactly, yeah. So that doesn't make sense.
I would have to say that this whole show arc ended with him becoming full-on hero. Not anti-hero, but at the end, he was displaying traits. He was so transformed by this event of the TVA, showing him how pointless, how stupid. All his aspirations have been garbage, and it's obvious, and it's also the key to his suffering. So he actually developed into somewhat of a hero by the end. He was self-sacrificing, completely gave up the reasons for becoming a villain. He saw himself, a glimpse of himself as a better man at one point, and he just really went for that all the way. He's probably more so a hero now than he was at the end of Ragnarok.
Yes and no. I mean, I think he's definitely on the path to becoming a hero, but he's not quite there yet. Because everything he's done up to this point has been for either his own interest or for Sylvie's interest.
Right.
But, like, he hasn't done anything, like, in terms of, like, the greater good.
The greater good.
That. But, I mean,
Well, he did try to stop her from killing Kang.
right.
By making out with her. No.
But I mean, that still affects him and everybody else. It still falls into his own self-interest that, this guy, there's more dangerous version of this guy who could actually kill me.
It
I mean,
does.
That is for the
that.
balance of the fate of the universe.
Conveniently, but his reasoning is more, what if something more awful fills the void? He's thinking about the fate of the entire universe.
Right.
I suppose so, but then again, he's in the universe, so...
Yeah, well...
I like how in Villain Pub, when he's there, like, talking to the villains and stuff, and they're like, you know what, you're sounding a lot like a protagonist. And I'm like, yeah...
Well, I mean, we all know, spoilers, there's going to be a Doctor Strange movie with all the multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
And so we all know that's happening. So who's to say that he and Doctor Strange aren't going to team up, but, like, not because they have to, but because he wants to?
It's possible. I mean, at this point, Doctor Strange is the only real hope of dealing with the whole multiverse thing.
But yeah, but
Doctor
Strange
remember
is
what happened the last
multiverse.
time that Doctor Strange met Loki?
Well, I'm sure there's going to be some not some
I've been
friendly...
falling for 30 minutes.
There's going to be some harsh words exchanged at first, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it'll be like Doctor Strange is the hero, Scarlet Witch is the villain, and Loki's in the middle. That's what I figure. But that's...
Kang-
I don't think they
Kanger's
make
the
Wanda a
villain.
villain. I mean, her
a
whole thing...
sympathetic villain.
Right. I mean, she definitely will probably, like Sylvie, have her own self-interest, trying to rescue her sons from an altered dimension, and they're probably going to have to rein her back in or something like that.
Yeah, no, I'm actually not looking forward to that because, I mean, sidetrack, I think WandaVision made me cry. It's been so long since I watched it, but just those last few episodes, I'm just like...
That was pretty
Like, you
sad.
look at it from a different perspective, her story is gut-wrenchingly sad.
Yeah.
It's, like, really sad.
It's even worse in the comics.
No, I know. I
Yeah.
know. Thank you, Crack.com. But it's just, it's so sad. That I'm a little hesitant to watch because I know I'm probably going to cry again. It's so sad.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god. I read the whole Mephisto Wanda thing as it happened. Like, I got the comic when I was a kid. So I remember cheesy-ass Dr. Pandemonium, who's secretly collecting the destroyed essence of the devil that he thinks is just part of his own being. So he finds these two gems, basically, that are Wanda's babies, but really she just took some inanimate objects that were glowing with power and she made them into her babies. They were the fractured soul of the devil. It's very convoluted.
Comics are weird.
But
True that.
it all ended with Dr. Pandemonium reclaiming the parts of Mephisto's soul that he thought was his own and grafting these two demonic babies to his arms.
That's
Shit.
disturbing.
She had to fight this demon, and plus he just summons demons as well.
Can we slightly veer off topic?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's talk about Mephisto. Let's talk
There's
about
Mephisto.
the very first episode. We have that devil window, and a window that leads to nowhere. Why?
I believe it's supposed to be a reference to a Sylvie and the fact that she wears horns. So that's why.
I mean, you have to be blind.
Okay,
she has to be very, very far away to like to reach.
Well,
that
she was
conclusion.
wearing her cloak. She's all in shadow, but if her horns peek out, it's like if you're raised in a church all your life, obviously you associate horns with the devil. So
I guess.
Sylvie, is Sylvie on the list? Are we going to talk about?
Oh
Sylvie?
yeah. But I just wanted to say I know everybody else is thinking Mephisto, and that's what they seem to be building up to. Because like when it first started, they're like, there's a variant of you running around. Who else thought that it was some variant? It was just Mephisto fucking stuff up.
That's what we considered in the first episode.
I
Then
know
again, I don't think we
saw
were
it.
being 100% serious.
Yeah, we weren't.
No,
Because again, Mephisto.
because it's left over from everybody's failed expectations of WandaVision.
Right.
I
That's
watched the
what I
video,
thought.
and you even said it out. You even said it out loud, Kat. Ooh, Mephisto.
But that's what I thought too.
I did too.
I thought they were tying it together, and that would have been interesting. I mean, I'm not mad it didn't happen. I'm just, there's a lot of MacGuffins in this show, and if you don't know what a MacGuffin is, Loki's a good way to find out.
I can't argue with that. I said we will get to Sylvie in a moment, but sort of an association with Sylvie is one last thing I want to talk about Loki.
Yeah.
His powers. So
Consistency!
He summons swords.
You know what? Him and Wanda also have that in common. Their powers make no sense. It's basically just what we need right now,
Yep.
but she's red and he's green.
yeah, because as far as we know, in terms of what we've seen of his powers, we know he can change form, we know he can summon stuff, we know he can teleport and sort of become invisible or something. But in this show, I know in the TVA he can't use those powers, but outside he still doesn't use them as much.
I know, they're on that planet where they're gonna die, and I thought, like, can he not fly or teleport anywhere? I mean,
Yeah, and
I
then-
don't understand.
and
Can she not fly or teleport?
I know, that's the other thing too, because like Sylvie's supposed to be a variant of him, but in terms of her powers, the only thing we really see is her enchantment. And I get she was probably too young and she probably didn't learn all the transformation stuff from Frigga like Loki did, but you think they'd have more in common. And Loki didn't even know he could enchant things until he joined hands with her against Goliath and actually managed to do
That
it.
bugged me, because I remember, I think it was the end of the first Thor movie, where like they find the Tesseract and Dr. Selvig's looking at it, and he comes and he's just like, wow, we should take a closer look. So it's like he already knows mind control powers. How is it you don't know them now?
Well, he doesn't know mind control powers because he was using the staff which had the Mind Stone.
No, I know, but this was before that. Do you remember? He's
staff.
looking at the Tesseract. This is before they open the Tesseract. It's in the cube. It's in this container thing, and Dr. Selvig's just looking at it. And they
Well, no,
there's
he
just
had
this-
it then because Thanos rescued him, gave him the staff, and then he...
Right, but he wasn't there. He wasn't physically there. It was just
Right.
like a shadow of him saying, just like, like whispering in his ear. So like,
All right, I get
you
okay.
kind of know this, and it doesn't make sense to me. Also, because he's supposed to be the god of chaos, and I think the god of magic, right?
The god of chaos and trickery.
If you were to like quantify Norse mythology and
Well-
make that a playable thing, I'm just going off of tabletop gaming
Oh,
here.
yeah, he's the expert on that.
Loki's a greater god. He's very powerful. He's just like the old Loki character in...
Oh, classic Loki.
And if you were to read the Loki comic, in a lot of ways it's like Clash of the Titans, right? It's like these larger-than-life Asgardian monsters, people from other realms, other gods, and Loki in that is a very powerful sorcerer, not just illusion, but he can just transmutation. I mean, his offensive
Teleport.
powers aren't totally amazing, but he has like lightning. He has powers to damage as well. He's used them in the comic.
Well, we saw a little of that.
I mean, he
Richard
played-
E. Grant.
And he played those pranks on Thor. Was it turning this thing into snakes or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That line
No,
was
he turned
impressive.
himself
He
into a
turned
snake,
himself into
and
a
then
snake, and then
and then surprised him like, so.
Yeah.
That was his forte in some ways more than illusions. And on top of that, he's also as strong, I mean physically, if we're talking about with the comic books guidelines, because you'd always get those trading cards that would have pictures of Spider-Man, and you'd measure out, his
I want
strength.
pictures of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
You'd measure out his strength and his durability and any powers he has on these cards. Loki was as strong as Spider-Man in that, and as durable. That's like toned down. All his abilities are toned down. I mean, all the movies, everything, is kind of leading to this point where they humanize these characters that are gods and make them like us instead of showing us what it's like to be gods.
And that's something we discussed heavily, because gods, when you think of a god, they have lots of powers. They're almost, if not completely indestructible, they're strong. They're forces to be reckoned with. And Loki's a god of trickery, and yet people keep deceiving him and lying to him, and a god of magic, and he doesn't use it that much. That I don't understand. Again, I know we're pandering a little to children, but you can pander to children without being completely inconsistent with your character.
I guess
the god of trickery shouldn't be tricked, is what I'm saying.
I agree with that, but I also reason that he's also kind of not a people person.
Well, I mean, obviously, but
Yeah.
like, he's not stupid.
I mean, he knows his brother. He knows what makes him tick, what
Right.
he'll fall for, and everything. When it comes to like every other day people he encounters, I mean, unless they're like basic characters, he's not gonna know how they work. Like, and he even tries to get one over, either on Sylvie or on Mobius or whoever, and they catch on to him instantly.
Well, I know Sylvie would, because, they're one and the same, but I don't know about Mobius. But
I mean, he studied everything about Loki.
Yeah, he was such a fanboy.
That is is true.
But I just didn't understand that they're gods, and yet, yeah, why if you're on a dying planet, why don't you get away? If you still have your powers, you're a god. You don't just sit there and die unless you're really emo or something. I don't understand that.
I do want to bring back back around in talking about his powers and that. And this is on your list, but I do think it's relevant now. In that, even though he doesn't have access to his powers in the TVA, he's still in his human form and not the frost giant form.
I've seen a lot of people point out that inconsistency, and I wonder if that was like a permanent spell put on him by Odin, or if that's just a detail they overlooked and didn't want to address.
At one point, he tells Sylvie he's cold and puts on a blanket. Frost giants don't get cold.
I figured he was saying that just because he wanted an excuse to put his
Sure.
Which didn't even look. It did look like a tablecloth. But I do wonder if the frost giant thing was just retconned. Because let's be honest, after the first movie, do they really talk about it? No.
Not really.
He doesn't use ice powers.
once.
He never talks about it. So I just figured maybe it was retconned, and if it isn't, it should be.
I mean,
they don't do anything with it.
he technically destroyed that realm, I think.
Right, no, he did.
Yeah,
He
so
did.
it's like a non-contender at this point, so, you know.
So it just makes no sense. And I don't, was that part of the comics?
That I'm not sure of, to be quite honest.
Because it always felt kind of cheap, added on.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that, and even in the continuity, of the Norse mythology of Loki, he's actually older than Odin. Nobody really knows what he is.
Not to mention, Odin is the worst father ever.
Father of the year!
There goes the worst father ever!
Something about the frost giant, if we're going back
Yeah, was that in the comics at all? Or? Let's go back, shall we?
I want to say that I don't think it's as significant as the movie makes it out to be. I think that it's maybe in his blood. I think he's cross-blooded or something.
He's some weird entity.
That's a good question. Honestly, I do remember in the comic it wasn't entirely new, the idea of him being a frost giant. But then again, like she said, he's been so many things, and he's old. He's very deceptive. In other things, he spends part of his time in this place called Pandemonium, which is a realm of screaming wind and dark tunnels and
so like a tunnel on the highway.
Yeah, it's just endless tunnels and this screaming wind that drives everyone who accidentally finds their way there insane. It's just a place of insanity. And that's where he becomes more insane and more evil when he ventures there. He is very fluid, but I don't think that the frost giant thing's as important in the comic or in his mythology as they make it out to be in the movies.
It should be retconned if it isn't.
I mean, they even showed one of his variants as a frost giant.
They did?
Yeah, when they're showing the hologram of all the different Lokis.
Oh my god.
One of them was the frost giant version, so I guess that's if his father didn't abandon him and actually raised him.
Was that not the worst Photoshop for some of those?
Yeah.
For a show.
They look like video game mods.
I know. For a company that makes billions of dollars, you can't get better Photoshop? Come on. Let's be real.
I think my main reason for bringing up the powers is that because we saw what classic Loki can do, making that giant Asgard illusion.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if in season 2 he's actually going to realize that he can do a lot more than what he's initially been doing and actually develop some of his powers, maybe even get new powers.
That's what I'm hoping. I would figure that if you know magic, you'd want to learn more. Call me crazy, but if I knew magic, I wouldn't just sit on I can make fireworks and I can make a projection of myself. I'd want to learn more.
I mean,
go to Hogwarts.
I mean, you saw that he has a hang up with swords. A lot of the Loki have
Which
hang up with swords.
I love
cool.
I love that talking point because it may look cool, but what did he say? It doesn't look great when they're stuffed in your throat or something like that.
It doesn't look good when they clang to the floor.
Yes, if you don't want to use magic to fight, that's fine. But I feel like there'd be better weapons than just shiny daggers.
That flame dagger was cool, though. You gotta admit.
What was
the flame dagger?
Well, that's more like a sword than a dagger.
There's like a Legend of Zelda moment. Kid Loki's like, "Here, take this with you for your quest."
Yeah, he's not wrong. Yeah, no, a sword is different. You can use a sword, but daggers are just you're not Sebastian from Black Butler. I feel like there'd be something better.
Yeah, butter knives.
Or at the very least, use them like projectiles and make multiples of them or something.
So like what Hela did.
He's a rogue.
Sure, yeah.
He's a rogue sorcerer, so
to be honest.
those knives give you the extra backstab damage.
That's true. Yeah.
If he teleported a lot, the daggers could be useful in sneaking up
totally.
behind and doing that.
Or
But
put poison on them.
That too.
Yeah, like knock him out or make
Jam them in your opponent's eyes and scoop them out like melon balls.
Did we mention we're horror fans?
Yeah.
You couldn't guess over there.
Yeah, so my point being is that I do think that Loki's going to take a page out of classic Loki's example and possibly learn some new powers. Actually, like, put some focus into his magic as opposed to relying on crappy weapons.
I hope
And
so.
I hope that's what we see in the next season.
I really hope so. That'd be cool.
And move on to our next talking point is Sylvie. You know, her character, her performance, her abilities. You know, what did you guys think overall of this female Loki version?
Well, I didn't, at the time, you told me she was pregnant when she
The
was
actress
showing-
was.
That is amazing. So before we even say the character itself, give props to that. She did like some genuinely good fight choreography while pregnant. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not heavily pregnant, but even so, that's really noteworthy.
They even
So
like
kudos.
they even designed her outfit so that she could easily like rip off her top and like breastfeed her kid while he was on set.
Aww.
So it's like
Deleted scenes, everyone.
So they had baby Loki all along. That would have been cool, and then he just had a little hat. I have to say, we rewatched it recently, and I'm glad we did. Because the first time watching it around, I thought she kind of annoyed me a little, because she was just like, you know, I need to do this quest, but I keep self-sabotaging myself. Urgh. But like, when you watch it again, and you actually watch the actress, sometimes actors are given like certain things to do or say that like may not make a lot of sense, and depending on the kind of actor they are, they can make it work or they can't. And she makes it work. We watched the last 2 episodes recently, and like she's, you know, with him under the blanket, which looks like a tablecloth, and she's just like, I've never had anyone. You know, that's a kind of a generic line, but you look on her face and it says so much. It says so much. I'm being vulnerable for just a moment, even though I don't want to be. I don't really know how to be. What are these feelings? What do I do with these feels, Loki? Help me. But then rewatching the last episode was also frustrating too. What did she say to him in the beginning? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, are you just gonna go in and stab him? Well, that's not part of the plan. And then what does she do?
She's like, no, I'm gonna enchant him. And everyone's like, what? No, I'm gonna enchant him. And then they get to Kang, and it's like, I'm gonna stab you! It's like you just mocked him like 5 minutes ago from wanting to poke a cloud, and now you're gonna poke this.
And she keeps doing it. She doesn't learn the first time.
Enchanting is your thing.
And no, and then she could have. He spent that whole time talking. At any point, she could have been like, "Yes, that's very interesting. Tell me more." And then, you know, ugh.
Well, I mean, she couldn't have done it while he was still in his time loop, whatever thing.
Well, right.
That she couldn't have done. But once he comes out of it, yes,
That's
she
what
could
I
have done
meant,
it at any time.
That's what I meant, because he spends a lot of time just babbling.
You know what why she reacted that way? You guys ever watch Malcolm in the Middle?
It's been a really long time.
So, I forget what season it was, but there was an episode where Hal had to meet up with this guy who was basically like his nemesis. It's been a long time since they like talked to each other. And the thing is, every time they see each other, they fight.
Okay.
So his wife is telling him, like, okay, you're gonna be calm, you're gonna talk like rational adults. The instant he and the guy see each other, they fucking have at it. They just tackle each other, beat the shit out of each other. Their wives have to pry them apart. So they're like off to the side, they're calming down, they're getting to a part of rationalization, and then they go to see each other again, and they instantly start fighting again.
So you're just saying she just sees red, basically.
That basically, because like
Yeah, I think
honestly,
I've known some guys like
yeah,
that.
because honestly, with some people, if you hate them enough, and this is a guy who essentially ruined her life, you see red no matter what the circumstance. You want to kill that person.
That's because he was eating an apple. I didn't see the
Ah.
apple trees.
Yeah.
I
That's
didn't
how you
see
know he's an
the olives.
asshole.
And you say that, and I keep saying to you, you're in the middle of like time itself. He could just go stick his hand in a timeline, like, what is a time apple? That
Yeah.
planet was gonna die anyway. I
At
could
some
save their apple trees.
apocalypse, yeah, they goes to Pompeii.
Yeah.
Or he does that
snatch
thing
an
where
apple.
the apple reforms and he just takes another bite.
The same apple over
I
and
think
over.
I'll have
Ew.
it again.
Ew.
I think I'll have it again.
No
Nasty.
wonder he was so bored.
Yeah.
But I think also, like, that's true. And she was set on revenge, and rightfully so. And I can understand that, just seeing red. But she has been smart and calculated this entire time because she had to be, you know, for survival, but also for the story. So I feel like, yes, she would be seeing red, but I feel like she could have tried to control herself just a little. You know what I mean? Because she's been so calculated and so smart, and she's like, I've been spending years making this plan, you know, you keep ruining it, blah.
I honestly think she didn't intend to get that far. Because she didn't count on Loki showing up.
Oh, right,
and,
right.
And going to the void and going through all this and
Right.
enchanting a giant cloud monster. And then she finally gets up to that point where she's like at the bad guy's step and she's like, okay, I need a moment. I didn't think I'd get this far.
I like that. That I liked. because like I know I just said a moment ago the gods should be gods, they shouldn't be humanized, but I do like that she was just like I need a moment because it humanizes her, even though I sound like a hypocrite just saying that. But it's like, yeah, it's also, you know, you're at the end of your quest. What do you do?
Yeah, they even discussed it before. You know, her and Loki is like, "What are you gonna do when this is over?" She's like, "I don't know."
You know what she would do? She'd make a great Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yes.
Not to mention, the whole time she thought her beef was entirely with the TVA. She thought she was going to go into the TVA and just fuck shit up and, you know.
I mean, she
and
technically completed her mission by killing the
and knock off the timekeepers.
What was her plan?
Just kill them.
Well, I get that.
You took my life away, so I'm going to take yours.
No. Going back, she was stealing those reset bombs. But I never really got what the purpose was. Like, I guess she was setting up a trap.
Cause chaos. She's the goddess of chaos.
I think she wanted to create more Ragnaroks that she could hide in, or get the TVA stuck in, so she could take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, you know, cause all these problems. Then while everyone's divided, trying to control it, she sneaks in, goes straight for the timekeepers, and then offs them with.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question for you. When they do see the timekeepers and they're those like weird alien-looking dudes, do they look like that in the comics? Or do they look like something else? Like, is that a throwback?
Not of the timekeepers, but they're definitely celestials that look like those guys. They were modeled. They were modeled after some celestial beings in the comics.
I like that. That's cool.
And one of them is Kang, though. One of them looks like Kang.
Like how he actually looks in the comic.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
blue
great.
face and then.
That's great.
I wonder if he was voicing them when they met them.
To be. It'd be like the Wizard of Oz, you know?
Exactly.
He's the microphone.
So
that's what he does all day.
Yes. I was re-listening to that, and I'm like, so is that actually him, like, voicing through the robots?
Honestly, it was so hard, because you couldn't really hear a thing they were saying.
I know.
It's just so distorted,
Yeah, but we had to. But it was, sometimes you actually do need subtitles for some of them.
It does help.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I know a lot of people hate Sylvie now because, you know, she basically fell into this guy's trap and did exactly what he expected her to. I still argue that she acted within character, and that was her one essential goal that she did manage to complete. It's just she doesn't care about everyone else in the process, and that's kind of typical when you think about it for a Loki. Single-minded purpose for their own means, and that's what she did.
I just feel like she was in over her head at the end of things, and that it should have really made her stop and think about the situation, how she wanted to go about it, but then she just acted so against what we had been building up to that it was hard for me to accept that.
I have two things. One, I'm not mad at her about that because we needed it to happen to set up the multiverse, you know, the Doctor Strange movie and the next season. From that point of view, I'm not mad. But I think we discussed this before, like, just after we watched that episode the first time. I feel like there were ways of her killing him that would have, like, not looked so bad. She's preparing herself to do it. She's listening to him babble, and, like, she tries to enchant him, and he, like, you know, ducks away. Or she's able to do it, and she's like, wait a minute, you're a liar. And then, you know, he snaps, but he's still acting like his usual stupid self. So, like, he tries to go after her. Because, like, there's that one point where he's just like, even I don't know what's going to happen. So he could be like, you know, well, if I don't know what's going to happen, then fuck you. So, like, they could fight a little, and then, like, in self-defense, she could kill him. He could try and, like, do something, so she'll just be like, in self-defense, kill him, because even though that's what she wanted to do, it would be self-defense.
There wouldn't be a point in a fight, because, like he said, he wanted them there, and he kind of wanted her to kill him.
I know, but, like, I thought he's crazy, so maybe he would just, like, change his mind or something. I don't know. I felt like there were ways that it could have been dealt with better, is my point.
I do agree the execution of all that could have been better, instead of us waiting through, like, 30 minutes of monologue, and then, you know, she just up and...
the execution of the execution.
You know, more of him, like, yelling at her, grow up, you know, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah, that was...
If he had just kept goading her on, I would have seen more reason for her to go and kill him. But
totally.
he doesn't really. He just kind of stops there and just waits for whatever's going to happen.
Slightly off topic, was I the only one who thought that when they get there and they see Kang and they go up in the elevator, was I the only one who thought, oh, he's just leading them to Kang? Like, that can't be him.
I kind of was thinking that because I'm like, wait, it's just some dude.
Right, I thought like, oh, he's his manservant, he's leading him up there. I really thought that, and then when it was him, I'm just like, oh.
I already knew the actor was Kang, so...
Well, right, but just, I don't know, it was bad. It was bad.
I don't know. I mean, the fact that he was dressed in purple, and let's face it, all of our villains up to this point have kind of been dressed in purple, so that kind of fit the theme of everything.
Oh,
That's the color of his outfit in the comic, although they made it a bit
Gee,
more
you're
modern,
wearing purple.
That's what I said. Evil!
Yeah,
You all knew this from the beginning.
It's tacky Silver Age costuming.
But now I wonder in terms of what Sylvie's going to do in season 2, because she completed her main objective, and now she has to deal with the consequences of her actions.
At this point, though, looking from where she is, she could run the TVA.
She could, but I don't think she would. If she did, it would be the intention to just destroy it, given what they put her through.
She'd go to that vacation planet Thanos went to and just become a farmer.
Also, before they get there, and Miss Minutes comes out and tells them all that stuff.
Hi, y'all.
Yeah,
God.
I actually loved the offer she gave them. That could be what they want, or the offer that Kang gave them, because it was like, yeah, you're dead, but like they could fix things. I mean, this on the one hand, I liked their offer because it would make them happy, but on the other hand, I didn't like it because he was like, I'm waiting for someone to do this, and I'm like, you've been waiting and you choose the gods of chaos. I know you're crazy, but even that doesn't make any sense.
Honestly, I was going to leave this for later, but I may as well address this topic now. Why would Kang launch this entire elaborate plan to get 2 of the gods of chaos to come all the way to him for the purpose of either killing him or taking over him, and then right before it happens, offer them an out? Why would he do that? That is one of the things that really confused me about the last episode, because it's like he goes on and on and on about how he planned every little thing, how he pulled the string of every little event, made sure that they got to the point they are now. So why, before he's about to meet them, would he have Miss Minutes offer them, a way to basically escape the entire situation?
I think that he was lying. I think that he knew it was going to happen. He could read it, he could see it, he can't stop it from happening. To try to sap their confidence in the situation and make them seem like he got everything under control, he made them believe, I'm the one who set you on this path. But I don't really think he was telling the truth about that. I think that he was just trying to demoralize them a bit by making them think that they have no control in this situation.
I mean, they didn't.
In a way, but neither did he. They were coming for him.
A theory just occurred to me in my head. He talked to them about his backstory, where he met his variants, and they, kind of developed peace through times and stuff like that. So while that was good, there were also bad ones. What if he was in cahoots with a bad one? Because before he dies, he's like, I'll see you soon. And then when Loki goes back to the new timeline, he's the ruler. So who's to say that maybe he didn't work with somebody?
I assume when he said, I'll see you soon, he means one of his other
No.
versions of him soon.
I know that's what he meant. But maybe he was working with the bad guy to be like, if you want this, that's fine. As long as I die, I don't care. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You want to rule, that's cool. I just want out. I want out, and I'll help you with that.
I suppose that's possible. It's just, I don't know, he just came off as so damn cocky, and then he was kind of backing that up with the fact that he was always teleporting whenever he knew he was going to get attacked. He knew basically what they were going to say and everything, and like I said, was pulling strings here and there to make sure they got to that point. It just, even if the whole offering them an out was a complete lie, which I totally believe, because there's no way he could put those 2 back into a timeline and have it not mess things up.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, why are you delaying the inevitable? Why are you just offering this empty promise? You're just wasting time. You're already wasting time with that friggin' monologue.
Do you think he was afraid to die?
I think to a degree, because he did look scared once he got past the point of where he no longer knew what was going to happen. But even then, it just felt like a waste. It's like, okay, we're going to give him this offer and show what could have been, but it's like, it wouldn't have mattered. They were going to go the same route regardless. We knew that.
It was bad.
Yeah, I just, that part really annoyed me, and I didn't get to address that in the last episodes. I just wanted to address it now.
I just hated the whole thing of, we're building up to this thing, and then we just end it by deflating a balloon, of just this whole thing where they're just talking after all these battles and everything, and it's just like, why would you do that?
The pacing, especially with that last episode, was just awful.
There's ways to give out exposition without literally just sitting at a desk and talking. There are ways to do it.
It would have been better, honestly, if he, like, restrained them.
Yes!
Because part of the frustration was that they were just sitting there watching them, and occasionally Sylvie would jump up and try to attack him, but I just felt it would have been a lot better if he actually restrained them.
Or no, what if he had that device that turned back the time on them and made
that
Well,
might
they
be
need the
interesting.
collars for that, though, wouldn't they?
What?
Wouldn't they need the collars for that?
No. T-15 was able to slow down Loki when she slapped him, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So...
And just...
Yeah, plus he's assumably like a borderline god, so he could probably do it even without the Tempath or whatever.
Okay.
But
that would have been good.
But the point is, like, they could have had more structured, you know, like, they're tied up, they're forced to listen to this monologue.
Yeah.
But it's, instead of, like, they're just sitting there, and that's part of the frustration, it's that they're just listening to him go on, it's like, do something, say something, show some
viewer,
resistance.
sure. As a viewer, sure, but as his opponent, he's already shown that you can't attack him.
I know, but again, that's
boring.
I know that's boring because he's basically in God mode. Like, you can't touch him no matter what you do. It's like you know, when you go on a campaign and someone's like, "Oh, you can't touch me. I use a perfect dodge. I
have the high ground."
Yeah.
He's in creative mode in Minecraft.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he can't be touched, and it's like, what can you do? You feel helpless and frustrated.
So you have to listen to him talk. But I think they try to they try to make that at least entertaining by making him crazy. I personally think that maybe he could have went full Jim Carrey with that, and it might have been a bit more successful. Like if he was nuts, and like at some point he seemed like he was explaining things in a very scientific way. He was a scientist, but then suddenly he's just goofy, psycho, stupid, and he does something ridiculous, and he starts talking with his butt. I don't know. Oh, think Jim Carrey.
Pick a characterization and stick with it.
I just had an idea. Okay, so this is kind of off topic, but we just rewatched Day of the Dead recently. What if he was like Dr. Frankenstein? If you don't know, Day of the Dead has this one character, they call him Dr. Frankenstein, but he's basically the lead scientist in the group.
He's a very mad scientist vibe.
Experimenting on the zombies, but in a way, he's brilliant because he's a scientist and he's trying to domesticate the zombies. But he's also crazy. But in the way he does it, it's like little twitches, little gleams in his eye that show that I'm trying to be in control, but I know I can't be completely in control. But the way he talks to people,
it's a very
the way he does it, it's amazing.
But
if you did it like that, like where it's crazy, but it's also believable, but not like boring, and not childish. Not childish. That would have been amazing.
You'd have to sell the insanity. And, that movie Day of the Dead also shows that variant Loki, the alligator Loki, what his Nexus event was. He started the zombie apocalypse.
The first scenes are in Florida, and the zombies are walking through around. There's an alligator just sitting on the stairs, doing nothing.
An army of zombies.
Sitting outside a bank. So yes,
that's what happened.
He started the Nexus event of zombies in Florida.
Okay,
but anyway, but no, if he did it like that, there were what my point is there are different ways he could have done that exposition. There are different ways he could have performed that. Is my point.
Yeah, that kind of falls into another topic I want to do. Kang, his actor's performance, his overall motives and everything, like, we already went into a good detail about that. I do think the actor did a pretty serviceable job, and given he was only in there for one episode, he definitely left an impact, you can say that much. And he set things rolling, but at the same time, I just felt like the direction wasn't clear and what type of crazy he should have played. I felt like he was chewing the scenery a whole lot.
While sipping his tea.
Yeah, and he was coming off just more arrogant and cocky than deranged and, tired or whatever.
And he just likes to play the pronoun game and play with his play to tell his backstory.
That thing was kind of cool, though.
That was cool.
Yeah.
No, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Like,
what if there was a way to do the exposition, like you said, they restrain him, but it was also, they do it like Wonder Woman style, where they show the story of it in that really cool art style. So you're not just watching them at a desk, you're watching like the actual history, where it's not just clay, it's actual like art moving. That would have been really cool.
Or get Miss Minutes in here. Have Miss Minutes show us.
Or no.
Tara Strong can fix anything.
Like Book of Life, where they have the puppets, and then the world of the story becomes like the puppets and the world around it. Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been far more interesting.
There's a way to do exposition without
Yeah.
it just being people at a desk talking. What is it? Show, don't tell? And
Yep.
that was all tell. And just a
Yeah.
little show with those things on the desk. That's boring.
They
That's
gave us a lot of
boring.
action in episode 5, so maybe
Yeah.
they wanted to be like, all right, well,
Right, but
I mean,
now
like,
we're just
if-
going to sit around a table for a bit.
It fit that whole aesthetic that they were doing with the cracks, with the gold and everything
That
like
was
that.
cool.
Yeah,
I like
with
that.
the, I guess, what's the art, the Kintinsu.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
with
It's
you know, with that,
rebuilding
it
broken
made
pottery
sense.
gold with
Yeah.
melted gold.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I haven't heard
So
about
like
that.
you know,
That
and
makes-
instead of like hide the flaws, make them shine. You know, make them
Right.
look beautiful. It fit that aesthetic, but it felt also kind of cheap and not used to its full potential.
Because it was cheap.
Yeah, money.
We lost all our budget on Goliath. Let's just use that desk over there. That's all we got.
That is
Yeah.
true.
You know how much this smoke monster's going to cost us? Episode 6, we're just going to have one set, one table, that's it.
So I guess the question now in terms of Kang is, what are we going to expect from him in the second season? Because I feel like every movie or show he's going to appear between now and then is probably going to be a different version in each one.
That's what I was
So I'm
gonna
wondering
say.
what version we're going to get in season 2.
Well, if we remember at the end of the last episode, there's his statues and everything. And he kind of hinted that, kill me, there will be evil ones of me to come. So we'll just assume that he's going to be evil and power hungry.
I just love he says evil version. I'm like, you're not already evil?
Well, like,
look
he
what you
would-
did.
Well, he's like chaotic neutral. These will be like evil, evil, evil.
Point is, it does give an opportunity for the actor to reestablish himself
Yes.
and pick something.
I want to see the actor play that. I
And
want
he
to
will.
see, before I judge, because I don't think he did terrible, but I want to see how he plays these other tyrant incarnations. Maybe that's his money. Maybe that's what got him the role.
That's,
you know what I mean?
want to actually just point out one thing, and I mentioned this earlier about Sylvie. You know, actors sometimes are just given stuff to do or say that's not great, and depending on how they work it, it's okay. So I try really hard not to judge the actors based off what they're saying because they can't control that. It's not a whole improv movie, because that would suck. It's just he's working with what he has. So with that, he was fine. It's just the writing of the character was bad. That's what it was.
Agreed.
Absolutely, yes.
He was fine, you know, for what he had, even though it was really stupid.
And I don't think he's going to be in season 2.
You don't think so?
I don't think season 2 is going to come right away.
Oh, no,
They're
no,
going to
no.
have like 6 Marvel movies
I
before then.
heard rumors that they're not even going to show season 2 till like 2024. So that's
Yeah.
like 2 years from now.
King's going to be gone at that point. Season 2 won't be a continuation
No.
of season 1. It'll be a continuation of Loki's journey.
We don't know that for sure.
There's no way. He's going
They
to be the
have the
villain of
statues,
Ant-Man.
though.
Yeah, I know. Well, whatever. He's going to be the villain of Ant-Man. He's going to be the villain of Doctor Strange. Like, he's going to be out there. Someone's going to defeat him before 2024 for sure. Because Doctor Strange comes out.
I mean, not defeat him, but at least sideline him,
Hinder him.
for now. Yeah, like hinder him, or at least one of whatever version of him.
Who's to
But
say he
then
won't
you-
come with multiples?
Then you still have whatever this alternate TVA is that doesn't know who Loki is.
Yeah.
And you have to pay off Mobius.
When
But-
will he get his jet ski?
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of Mobius, so let's discuss Owen Wilson and his character and overall.
I have to say that, again, with what he was given, he was fine. But his character was kind of weird because he's like, I'm your biggest fan. But like, why? You know he's an asshole. You know he will betray you. But he's like a little puppy. No matter what he does, no matter how many times Loki pushes him away or kicks him, he's just like, I still like him.
I think
I was here because I love him.
I think that was a problem because they kind of flipped that constantly. First he's like, oh, I'm your biggest fan. And then he 180s to, you're a disappointment and I can't believe you.
It's one of those things where never
yeah.
meet your heroes because you realize what assholes
It's
they
like,
are.
I'm kind of wondering if Mobius was putting on a front in the very beginning.
I was so convinced of that.
He's interrogating somebody,
Yeah.
though. The flattery could be completely just
Yeah.
to get the response.
He wants to
that he
talk
wants.
Loki up. Yeah, I'll get that. But as I was saying, before, I very much like Mobius as a character, but I don't feel like they gave him enough to do. And I think they really need to kind of expand more on him. And I think it's good now that we know all these characters are actually variants, and there's backstory that we could probably draw from. and it gives them more to their characters that they can build from.
I have to say, I did love that twist. It's like it closes some doors, but it also opens more. So like if they are all run by variants, how do they know which variants to use? You can be a variant guard, you can be a variant security, you can be variant at the desk, you can do this
I
or
guess they
that.
just program you to do it. They
I
do
guess,
kind of
yeah.
gloss over that.
Oh, completely, yeah.
Because my thing was, you're just going to erase anything anyway. Why do you got to put these people on trial? They don't know who the fuck you are. They don't care what the fuck's going on. They're just going to be like lost like a babe in the woods. And you're like, you're sentenced. Well, okay. And then what do? You make them into an employee.
You make them forget what fish are.
No!
Yeah, what's a fish? That's just their way of recruiting. Like they find someone who breaks the rules but is clever enough or has enough talent in something to make them into an employee. Fine. Why put them on trial? Why does that make any sense except to
It's the system, man!
Is that necessary to keep all your employees in line, to think that this is like some sort of total bureaucracy? And if so, how come none of them ever question, why are we putting these people on trial?
Because
If
they're
I'm just
brainwashed.
frying them anyway.
It's adding more fuel to siding with Sylvie on this. Because, yeah, the TVA is so horribly run, and there's really no logical sense to a lot of it.
But it's also the head of it is a crazy guy, so of course
Yeah.
there wouldn't be a lot of logic.
At first I thought they were invincible. Like in episode 1, I'm like, whoa, these guys are a real
Yeah,
threat.
the one lead guard. What was her name again?
B-15.
She was
Yeah,
great. Yeah,
B-15.
she was
She was
such
fantastic.
a badass. Yeah.
Yeah, and she did a great job. We saw her in a movie called His House. It's like a supernatural movie on Netflix. And she played an African refugee. The role was very
She
different.
was so good.
But she was great in it. And then when I saw her in this, it was such a different role. And I thought she did pretty good.
She did a 180, and she was good in both of them.
You know, but
I
then
don't
like
remember that much,
after
but I remember
after
her.
the first episode, these guys were like the Keystone Cops. They're getting their butt kicked in
Everything.
everything they do. They're dumb. When you have to scream at the TV to get someone to not do something, these are supposed to be the experts. I'm just the idiot watching your TV show. You're supposed to know not to be a little bit more careful or whatever. That Renaissance fair thing.
Oh gosh.
That was confusing. It's like, did you guys run out of sets and you just happen to see a Ren Fair in town, so you're just like, okay, this is our set for today?
Or they were just like, we have all these Ren Fair props from the last movie we made. You want to just use them?
What apocalypse was going to happen at the Ren Fair? That's what I want to know.
I don't even think there was an
Where the
apocalypse
plague
happening. I don't think
A
they-
real dragon shows up or something.
I think that Sylvie just kind of randomly went into it, and that's all there was to it. I don't think at that point they knew what they were going to be doing just yet.
That LARP event went so wrong.
When
so
LARPing goes
wrong.
bad.
He had the Book of the Damned. He summoned a succubus.
We're not
and
talking
slaughtered everybody.
That's Knights of Badass.
Yeah.
Seriously,
No,
go
she's
see it.
at that point. I think she's just luring random TVA agents to wherever. And they don't have to make any sense. She just wants to get them in some place. They're not expecting. There's no good reason for it, so there's no reason to expect it.
Well, at that time she was doing it for answers, because she does capture that one person and ask who's controlling the TVA and trying to get the info out of her. So,
Who do you work for?
right, yeah.
Yeah. Just because the two Lokis are about to smooch, it creates a Nexus event.
I know,
that
just the incest
it will
timeline.
bypass an apocalypse. Like the meteor is going to see this happen and be like, "Whoa,
Too
I'm
much
not
incest,
touching
too
that."
much incest.
And flying back into space, saving
That
the
was
planet.
funny. That was pretty funny.
That leads to my most important talking point of this review: the Loki Sylvie shipping.
Oh my God.
Would you get with a variant of yourself? That's what they ask, and they make it romantic in the show, even though it's a little weird. But if you could, would you?
I mean, I don't like myself, so I can't imagine liking a boy version of myself. But then again, Loki doesn't like himself, and he fell for her, so maybe. But then again, he's a narcissist,
Yeah,
so even if he hates himself, he loves himself.
And he probably
so.
hasn't been laid in a while. He's too busy fucking shit up. But for me, I don't know, maybe. I don't know, that's a whole other thing. But it
But then
does
again, they're
Yes.
still different.
Am I right?
yours would be huge. A 6'5" woman.
A tall woman.
Toned.
Be Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah, kind of, but less pale. Yeah, basically.
Sure.
Like you.
No, I don't know if I could do it. I don't
only
think
weird
I'd
if you
fall
make
in
it
love with
Only if
weird.
they
myself.
have a beard.
It's only weird if you make it weird, bro.
Nah. I don't think I could fall in love with a
We're not
a
judging
version of
you.
myself.
I'm judging you.
I think it would
We're
just
not
be
judging
too
you.
weird for me.
But the
to-
other real question is, would you fall with an alligator version of yourself? myself.
Only if I was like a.
Look out! He's gonna get your hand.
Train of thought.
If I enjoyed being a masochist.
A pet version of ourselves? I think every person would, right? Didn't care what pet it is.
Then I'm thinking of Aqua Hunger Force, where Carl made that weird dog hybrid.
I want to be named Spaghetti.
Oh, you're quite attractive. I'm gonna rape you.
You're gonna just be like, that's me? Come here! I don't care what you...
I'm so cute and fluffy.
Like, I think I could maybe form a friendship with a version of myself, and especially if it's an animal and I can't really communicate, there'd be some sort of affinity there, but I don't think I'd go into the realms of actual romantic.
Friend-zoned by my variant? That is so crushing.
I think there'd just be something way too off.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not your type, I am you!
I am your
And
type.
especially when you know yourself and things you've done, it's like, ugh, do you really want to face with that every day?
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like, ew, get away from
It's
me.
like,
I
yeah.
know what you did the other night.
And last summer.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the whole self-cess thing is really weird and is a very particular type of shipping. Trust me, I've seen it. I'm part of the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom. I've seen the self-cess ship over and over again. 3 of the characters alone have self-ships. But in terms of this, when you put aside the fact that they're not exactly perfect copies of each other, that they are their own individual person, it's easier to ship. And honestly, they have really good chemistry. I liked the whole build-up, how they obviously start off as enemies, and they distrust each other, and then they get to know each other, then they become partners, then they go out of the way to help each other, to save each other. They work together. They actually help each other accomplish their goals. And it sucks to see that it all fell apart at the last minute because of friggin' Jackass pretty much pitting them against each other. And now I'm worried what's going to happen from here. Because from what Tom Hiddleston said, they are supposed to meet up again. Or at least Loki's actually going to go look for her. Although I can't imagine why, given what she did.
Because he loves her. He was a lovesick puppy in episode 3.
But
she's awesome. And she's amazing, and we gotta find her.
I just figured that would have been a rather big betrayal, though, and he would be a little less inclined, at least would be more focused on trying to figure out what the hell's going on in the TVA and in terms of Kang conquering everything. But I don't know, I guess that's the only way to bring Sylvie back into the frame, because again, she completed her objective.
She's toxic, but I can change her.
Actually, that was Mobius throughout the entire thing. Seriously, it's been like a running to see which ship is bigger, the one with Loki and Sylvie, the one with Loki and Mobius, given what a fanboy he is of him. Once they shared that sweet hug.
Yeah.
It's like, how often do you see Loki hug people of his own volition?
Well, actually, going back to that, since this is a different Loki, we do see him as a different Loki in the sense that, he's more lovesick, but he wants to trust people. He's trying to open up more, and he does want to, actually get involved with her life. Not just, sexually, but just, I want to be your friend. I can tell you, you don't have any friends. You won't be my friend.
Won't be well for you.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I saw pointed out in one of the Facebook groups I'm a part of is, you notice how once he changes into that button-up shirt and stuff, and he doesn't change out of it for, the rest of the season? They said it's because when he does, Mobius actually complimented him on it, and so he kind of stays that way because of what Mobius said. So again, it fills into how he wants praise, he wants the people whose opinion he values to actually
And I think you mentioned that after the whole Sif thing. He's just, I'm a masochist and I'm a hedonist and I know I'm a bad person and I just want attention.
That ship is a jet ski.
I do hope we see Mobius get his jet ski. I will be so disappointed if that doesn't happen.
They probably will, but I don't know when.
He didn't say wow at all.
I know!
Close, he
said now.
He said how.
Yeah, how.
You know how many words rhyme with wow? Probably 25.
How brown cow?
There's a cow on the TVA.
And also, he
Loki
was
cow,
driving
damn it.
he was racing a red car. He didn't say ka-chow.
By the way, I think that car, was confirmed it was supposed to be the pizza car reference from Pixar.
Sort of, I know the Pizza Planet was slightly different in design, but honestly that's what I instantly thought of when I saw that.
Apparently, actually, in that
But it got
episode-
overshadowed by the Thanos copter.
Yes, no, apparently...
Thanos copter, yes.
In that episode, apparently, it's peppered with Loki references. I think you were trying to tell me in their little fortress of Loki's. It was all references,
and other
right?
rare things, like they
Yeah.
had the Polybius arcade machine, which is supposed to be like this mythical arcade machine that killed people, and then he was drinking Ecto Cooler.
Yep, saw that.
You know, and it just whatever they could find that was rare that they could just toss in there.
There's Frog Thor.
Yeah.
The
The Philadelphia Project, they threw that in there.
Mjolnir was just in the dirt.
Yeah,
and
I know,
little
just
tiny
sitting there,
Thor.
Just out of reach.
I know. It's so funny.
Since we're on the topic, we may as well talk about the Loki variants. Because honestly, I think that's the biggest highlight of this series.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
completely.
so what is it about Episode 5 with Loki and with Captain America, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier? That's where all the stuff that you want to see, that's where it happens.
It's like in Twin Peaks, it's always episode 8 where the shit gets crazy. Where the shit
Because
gets batshit crazy.
It's before the last. It's for the season finale, so they want to really build up to whatever the last. I think.
That makes sense.
Okay,
It's
so
been a
with
few months.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, that's the one where it spends most of the time with Sam and Bucky just character building and actually
okay.
training and fixing up the boat.
That was a good episode.
Basically, yeah, a lot of the character development that we were sorely missing.
Stop
through a
hitting
lot
on
of
my
get it,
sister,
because
man.
Yeah.
the show is called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so you want to see the guys being dudes. You want to see them broing it up. I see.
Bro,
You
Stop
want to
hitting on my
see?
sister,
You want to
man.
actually have a good reason for the two of them being
Yeah.
teamed up, and also getting that explanation for Bucky as to why he's so resentful of Sam not taking the shield and everything.
Yeah.
So, but to that point, that's where it's the strongest episode in my opinion. And then with episode 5 of Loki, that's where we get all the Loki variants, and we have an altercation between the Loki variants, and that's ultimately my favorite part of the whole series.
I have to say, politician Loki was fucking hot. Despite that dead carcass on his shoulder that was supposed to be a flower, I don't know. But I loved it. I loved all the Loki variants, and I loved the variety of it. I love that there was Kid Loki. I love that there was a Black Loki. I love they had this. I love that they had Richard E. Grant because he's a very underrated actor, and he was
amazing.
He was really good. And even the other Lokis that show up later, there's the one with like the bicycles thing on his head, and then there's ones that are covered in graffiti, and then there's like, I don't know, they were everywhere, but I loved it.
Like
I thought it
Mad
was
Max
so,
Loki.
It was so much fun. And then just like, well, about that, you betrayed me. Oh yeah, about that too. You betrayed me. I'm fed up with these worlds.
I do like how they all kept consistent in that.
Yeah.
It's like they all were a bunch of lying, betraying bastards.
Because they're good at that.
Yeah. And of course, Loki survived. I'll give him that.
They got him in hell.
And I love anything where a guy can scream like a little girl.
I know.
Alligator Loki. Hello. You didn't
Alligator
mention
Loki is the
Alligator
true
Loki.
hero
No, no,
of the
no,
show.
no, no, no.
So
Yeah.
incredible.
That
Just-
vacant look
oh,
on his face is so endearing.
I
He's
love
taking
it
over
so
America
much.
by storm.
he
Baby
doesn't-
Yoda who? I
he
don't
gives
know
no-
Baby Yoda.
But he gives no fucks. You say it's a vacant stare, but he also gives no fucks because he will
He doesn't.
eat your hand.
It's
and
not vacant.
care.
It's
He's-
not vacant because
He's
when he gets
sensitive like the
mad,
rest of us.
He's what?
He's sensitive like the rest of us.
Yeah. Like, is he even
he's
alone?
tired
I
of
don't
your
know.
BS.
Right, yeah. I'm tired of this damn kiddie pool. Get me out of here.
I saw a funny theory someone came up because they said that his Nexus event was that he ate the wrong cat.
You did mention that, yeah.
And they're saying, what if the cat was Goose?
It could be. It could
Wow.
be. We don't know.
But I'm like, wait, wouldn't it be the other way around? Wouldn't Goose eat Alligator Loki?
They could have had a battle.
Yeah.
That would have been
He
epic.
tried to, but he failed, and then
The cat
Alligator.
You betrayed me, Goose!
Yeah.
A merkin or a flirkin or whatever it is.
Merkin is something totally else. Totally different.
Yeah, I mean, if he's like a god alligator,
fuzzy
he
as
could
well.
have a chance.
I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. I really
Yeah.
did. And it also made me sad because the classic Loki died, and then all that's left is just Kid Loki and Gator Loki, and there's them running around forever. And it's like they had a chance to escape and they didn't. And I kind of wish they did.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. They kind of just fucked off at the end to leave
I
the mains to
know.
like their quest. It's
I was-
like, why wouldn't they go with them, or at least like escape with Mobius through the Ten Path back to the
And just
TVA?
go somewhere. You'd think they don't. Nobody likes being there.
Yeah,
Why-
except
I know,
wanna
this is
stay.
our kingdom now.
He
That's
did.
depressing.
They kept saying that. They kept saying that about Kid Loki. So I wonder, is that his actual kingdom? And then
Well,
he
he
got
kind of
fucked up.
well, he kind of established it because think about it, he has the best reputation out of all of them. He actually killed Thor.
Yeah, you did say that.
So that's why they consider him the king in that sense.
Is that why there's so much chaos and that actually is his land?
I mean, it's more like a turf war, I expect. Like, it's him versus President Loki. And that they're always battling for territory. Because their main focus is survival, just not getting eaten by the giant cloud monster. But in this case, you know, they may as well conquer what they can because they are Lokis. They take over shit. So.
But speaking of, they kept saying, you know, we're surviving because Elias will fuck us up. But now that Elias is gone, well, Elias will fuck us up and it keeps us from traveling around outside of the realm. But now that he's gone.
I don't know if he's gone. I know
he dissipated.
Sylvie, like, enchanted him so that way he would let them through, but I don't think he's gone.
Yeah.
You don't think he is? Oh.
No, I don't think he is.
Oh,
No.
Well, then never mind about my question.
I mean, he's a giant entity. I don't see how anyone short of Kang's level could possibly, like, get rid of him.
You were going to say a god, weren't you?
I was going to say a god, but I'm like, wait, they are gods.
I know!
But I mean, like, Kang's level, because, like, he didn't kill him, but he was actually able to control him. So
But that's also what I don't understand. If you're god, they're not gods. They call them gods, but they really
They're demigods. They're demigods. They live long times, they have powers, but they can be killed. And it actually kind of fits into the Norse mythology because they do age and they have to eat enchanted apples in order to stay young and immortal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the apple Kang was eating.
Ah,
I gotta keep up my looks, you know.
That would make sense.
I'm 5 million years old, I gotta keep up my looks. Munch.
While we're on the subject of variants, I want to say there is ever the possibility that we could still see a Matt Damon Loki.
Yes, that would be so great. Although, wasn't that part of Asgard destroyed?
It's hard to
Sadly.
say because you don't see him in the crowd or anything. You
Well,
know?
it's still a crowd. He could be anywhere.
Keep in mind, it could still be like a Dogma crossover.
Yeah.
Where it's him and Ben Affleck as
You can easily-
Loki and Bartleby.
You can easily incorporate the Askew universe into the MCU. Like,
That's dizzying.
yeah.
I mean, you already had Captain Marvel, where Stan Lee's cameo is him reading the script to Mallrats.
Yep.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
I do kind of hope so, because again, I don't expect them to be the only variants we see. There's got to be a shit ton more, besides the ones that they briefly showed us. And they have to bring back Matt Damon. I mean, come on, he is Loki. And I know he's not the Loki we know, but he's still a Loki.
He is still a
I
Loki.
count it.
He's the Loki we deserve.
Yes.
Speak for yourself. Tom is all mine. But no, I think there are going to be variants because the Spider-Man movie is going to be in the multiverse, and there were rumors that either in his movie or the Doctor Strange movie, we will see all the Spider-Man. We will see Tobey Maguire. We will see Andrew Garfield. We will see...
Yeah, but they'll also have
So
Doc
those are
Ock
variants.
and all the old villains too.
But still, that would be variants. So I think that
Yeah.
counts, and I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
That would be so cool to see
If
all
they
of
pull
that.
that off, I will be impressed.
I heard rumors that they would because again, if it's the multiverse and they're literally dealing with like the chaos of time, who's to say they don't accidentally end up in the early 2000s or the late, the early 2010s?
So my only concern is, Sony screwing things up because they're so possessive of the character. They fought so hard just to keep Spider-Man in the MCU once Endgame was over with. And I'm just wondering, are they actually going to let them use the rest of the properties associated
I
with
hope
Spider-Man?
so.
I mean, I really do hope so, but I'm not holding out for it because, again, it depends on corporate mandates and what they will allow to be used in what property.
Well, then all I have to say is, Sony, don't be a wet blanket. Give us this, please.
All I know is, as long as J.K. Simmons comes back again,
Yes.
that
He's not
that'll
going
make-
anywhere.
No.
He's not going
See,
anywhere.
he needs to get his pictures of Spider-Man.
Yep.
Or become the Alex Jones of the universe like he was at the end of that thing.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was a little weird, but... weird but believable. But yeah,
I know that was kind of what they were doing in the Spider-Man PlayStation game, is that he does a lot of radio broadcasts. Not necessarily even radio, but just podcasts, yeah. I mean, let's face it, the journalism is very much shifting at this point. Newspapers are basically dying, so you kind of need to revamp the media.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Now he's like Howard Stern.
But then that means he would have guests, and he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would have guests.
No.
And if he did have a guest,
He does talk to people.
he'd be like, "Welcome to the show. Now,
He
why
did,
don't you give me those pictures?"
Well, he takes callers, I know
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess that counts.
So there's one thing I did want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's one I'm not really too fond of talking about because I don't like this character, Ravonna Renslayer. Judge Renslayer.
I know the actress, and I always forget her name, but she was in the Dark Crystal show that on Netflix, which, for God's sake, please bring it back! But her character was amazing. She was the snotty princess who turned on the good guys and became bad briefly, but then the bad guys betrayed her, and then she kind of went back at their asses. And she was great. She was great. So bringing that fire and passion that you can tell she has for acting into this, I thought she was good. You're given only so much to work with. And with what she had, I thought she was fine. But her character, I don't know. It's a little inconsistent.
It's one of those cases where you have a good actor, but you don't give them much to work with. Because, like, the direction, her motivation, like, her characterization, it was just all over the place, and it just didn't make sense in the grand scheme of everything. Because I think Honest Trailers put it best, is that her whole issue, her whole turn to evil was because she figured out she was middle management.
Yes! Yeah, actually, Honest Trailers and Pitch Meetings really made some good points that I was going to mention, but I watched them a while ago and I forgot. But, yeah, her character is weird. Like, at the end, the very end, he's just like, where are you going? And she's like, to find free will. I have no idea what that means or what's going to happen.
Well, she says there's only one person who has free will, the person at the top.
So does that mean she's going to try and become the the head of the TVA? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
If we're going by the comics, I mean, she does team up with Kang.
So,
so I'm assuming maybe Miss Minutes gave her the coordinates to meet up with a version of Kang, so that way she can be at the top because she's ruling with the guy who created the TVA. That's the only way I see it making sense, and maybe she'll appear in one of the other movies where he's the bad guy.
And she's his sidekick.
Yeah, because unlike the other variants, you know, once they realize what happened, like, she's not horrified or sad of the life she lost. No, she's pissed off because she's not the one ruling at the top. And she's trying desperately to hang on to these rules that make no sense, all for the point of controlling chaos, which, what does that even mean in terms of time?
Well, as a person who also works at a desk job and has rules that sometimes make no sense or are infuriating, I can sort of understand where she's coming from.
It's like,
this is all bullshit. What am I doing? You know?
But it's like she's trying so desperate to be relevant, and she's in a system that really has no relevance in the grand scheme of things once she realizes the truth. Her just, you know, going against this guy she considered a friend for like eons, you know, that just... that infuriated me. I would have thought she had been manipulating him, maybe, and that he went against her plan, and that's why she turned on him. But in this case, it was just like, oh, you disagree with me, dead.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I didn't really see the motivations there. In fact, there were a couple times where she would say something, and then the person she's acting against, like Sylvie or Agent 15, they had to be like, you don't even know. Like, they have to, like, read her mind to let us know why she did it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I would have had no idea by the other things she said and her other motivations, that was her issue. Or that she didn't know about Kang, even. I thought she was in on the whole robot space lizards thing.
That's what I thought too. I thought they were going to feel she was like his second in command and she was keeping them in line or something. But no, she was just as clueless as the rest of them. And then when she found out, she was so desperate to like, oh, well, I'm sure they had a plan all along. I'm sure this is important.
Yeah.
It's just like, it made her came off as like desperate and stupid.
You know, something just hit me. Agent B-15 and that other guy go back to her timeline and find her. We find her, and it's only brief, obviously, but it's like she's a principal or something.
Yeah, she's principal.
Yeah, like a high school.
So that means she's in charge, she's in control, she organized things. So that's a part of who she is. So even if she's brainwashed, that might still be a part of her. So she's like, I'm still, you know, I don't remember that past, but I'm still used to that, being in control, running things, keeping things ship-shape, you know, making sure these people don't get out of line. So, like, maybe that's just ingrained in her so much that you can't get rid of that. So it's like, I still want this control, and now I realize the stuff that was controlling me doesn't even make sense. I want it, so I'm going to go find it. I don't know, does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, it does, and part of me wonders, because she's the one who lost Sylvie initially as a kid.
Yeah.
She bungled that whole thing.
That was pretty stupid.
Yeah, and part of me wonders if she had handed that off to Mobius to handle, and she didn't want anybody else knowing about her involvement in that, and that's why...
You need to finally...
Like I said, a lot of her motivation is just her covering her own ass.
Yeah,
hey, that's middle management.
Yeah.
it's like it's her big failure. One she obviously doesn't want anyone to know about because it'll question her leadership. So I'm wondering if she assigned Mobius the task, and that's why he got so obsessed with Loki and studying all aspects of him. He thinks that, oh, my good friend is putting me on this important mission. I'm going to throw my all into it. And she just kind of like, yeah, whatever, you do your thing. I'm just going to keep ruling and pretending this never happened.
I think that makes sense. I completely agree with that. That makes
Also,
sense.
something I forgot to bring up when we were talking about Sylvie is that she gets captured as a child. How long has she been on the run, going through timelines?
It's hard to say
She's
because
dead her whole life. So.
Yeah.
plus she's a god. She could be like hundreds of years old, like sort of like Loki is.
Did they mention she mentioned like I think she mentioned to him I'm thousands of years older than you.
Yeah, thousands of
Yeah,
years.
I don't know.
That threw me off.
That just seems like BS.
I
And
mean,
the
if she's
age-
hopping through time periods, like again, time has no meaning.
Yeah.
You don't even know how old she is at this point.
And
Yeah,
plus
honestly,
going
that really screws with my brain.
and plus going through apocalypses all the time, that'll probably age you a lot,
Yeah.
regardless
yeah,
of time
well,
travel.
I think that she would look more like some evil
Ragged.
old crone than this cute woman that she wouldn't be as cutesy. She would actually
She'd at least look a little more ragged.
But we have to have
yes.
some appeal, you know.
They built her up, like one of the big MacGuffins of the show, I think, is that they build her up to be something pretty fearsome and nasty. And then, within half an episode, she's watching Loki do karaoke at a bar and thinking,
Well,
oh,
she didn't
what
want
a charmer.
No. She was watching it being like, what the fuck are you doing? No, she was furious, but she couldn't act on it because she was surrounded by people and she wanted to be incognito.
Yeah.
She wasn't happy. I mean, maybe there was a small part of her who thought, oh, that's cute. But she's like, no, this is bad. You're fucking shit up. Stop drinking. Stop smashing that glass over there, even though it's hilarious. Even though it's hilarious.
She
You're
grew up
fucking
on
it
the
up.
run at various apocalypses.
Yeah.
She should be like Furiosa, not like...
Ooh, that would be badass. No, he's right. What if she had like battle scars? Like, not like missing an arm, but like battle scars or something.
Yeah, I mean, all that we see is that
The one
the one
horn's
horn
missing.
is
That's
missing, and that's it.
Does she have healing powers? Maybe she can heal herself.
I think they can all heal themselves to a
Oh.
degree, but I don't think it's like explicit healing powers.
Because maybe that's what it was. Maybe she is missing an arm and she just cast an illusion of an arm or something.
That would be funny.
I am the arm.
Alright, so I guess we'll move on to the topic of the TVA itself. I know you have a lot of gripes about it, Joe. And we've had a few gripes ourselves, in terms of the fact that it's run by highly incompetent variants that is created by a nut job who only wanted to have a means of getting the two Lokis to the point where they kill him. And the fact that they don't know what the fuck they're doing in any capacity, and the rules don't make sense, and why are there so many goddamn Infinity Stones just lying about? It starts off so intriguing at first that you have this place that exists outside time that negates all forms of magic, that can kidnap people from any point, any time, for any reason. It's a scary concept, but ultimately it's an ugly bureaucratic office out of the 70s that has the most archaic process you can imagine. I don't understand the whole scanning for a robot thing. It's like, if you already knew that, why do you scan for that?
It's a throwaway gag.
They're getting Terminators.
It just doesn't make sense. It's like, what if a robot did show up? Would that screw up something?
Of course.
I don't understand that. And the whole fact that it changed at the end. It's like, this is supposed to be a place that exists outside time, yet when Sylvie throws him through the Tempath, suddenly the TVA is all changed and Crime's in charge. How does that make sense? Nothing about the TVA makes sense.
Oh, well, okay. First of all, you're right. But to that point you were saying, that timeline, she had just killed Kang, and we saw all of these lines just splitting like hair, just split. So it's changed because reality itself has changed.
I know that, but
completely.
the TVA is supposed to be an entity that exists outside of time. It's
Well-
supposed to be the only consistent thing. How does that change with that? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, his house, his whole thing was at the end of time. Right? So, when he gets destroyed, that's destroying the end of time. So, I don't know, wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey Doctor Who shit that you'd probably say.
Yeah.
But, actually, earlier, I was gonna say, what if it's political commentary? Everything's messed up and no one knows what they're doing.
That's a given.
I might be overthinking
That's with any sort of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
The rules are made up and the points don't matter.
Mad Men
They
is
don't, they
no
end up in
longer
your
on
desk.
the air, but we have all of these sets. We need to do something with them.
Oh, shout out to the theremin. They really liked the theremin in that show. And if you don't know what a theremin is, it's a really weird musical instrument that you will hear.
Oh, that.
And she listens to records of the theremin in her office.
That's what that was?
Yeah.
No one does that.
Oh my god.
No one does that. She's a freak. That is weird.
I know, my ears were bleeding listening to that shit. I'm like, why do they have this?
You use the theremin sparingly. Sparingly for a reason, because we
There's
don't
like
want our
only
audience
one
ears
real.
to bleed.
There's only one real instance where the theremin was a big thing, and that was in Beach Boys' "Good Vibrations."
Yeah.
That's it.
Or in any old sci-fi movie where they're trying to set up the
Yeah.
aliens are nearby. And like,
I can see doing the cheesy music and stuff, but this was throughout most
Yeah.
of the episodes as background music. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with you
it's-
people?
There was the one
It should be
scene-
more atmospheric than actual music.
I know, there was the one scene where after they kill the TVA space lizard, he's like, Sylvia, I have something to tell you. And you hear it in the background, and it's like, I'm trying to be romantic, but it's just, this weird alien music is ruining my mood. But shout out to the theremin. Use it sparingly, although it was hilarious in the show.
Yeah, again, I was going to bring this another talking point, but I just want to say now, the music in this is atrocious. I hate it. I absolutely despise
We don't need a hero.
I despise the music
Oh my
choices in
God.
the show.
We don't need
so
a hero at
much.
the end of the night. We don't need that hero.
Yes,
Because she wasn't a hero!
So
I
one-
need
one
a
division I
hero.
The music wasn't anything fantastic in the others. I mean, it was really good in WandaVision where they were making the different theme songs for each time period.
I love
where they
that.
made the Agatha all along. That was great. When they did the music for Falcon Winter Soldier, it was good. At least it was appropriate. It built you up and everything.
Just background music.
Yeah, but it's good enough. But then Loki, it's like they try to go for the whole weird sci-fi, like you said, that synthesizer thing, and it's so weird and it's so
Annoying.
awful
And then,
to
like,
listen to.
Not to mention all the country songs that they play at the very end. It's like, what is this tone you're going for?
And then you slip modern songs into it once in a while. Like I Need a Hero, or that
That was
one
bad.
song at the beginning where she's like enchanting that one woman. That just, I'm like, what is this? I don't get it.
Someone lost their playlist and they had an extra one and they were like, I don't have anything else. This is that theremin's been sitting there forever. Do we know anyone who can play it?
This was free off iTunes, so let's use it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Like, there's ways of making sci-fi weird music without constantly using the theremin. There are. Look at Star Trek. Look at, I guess, Doctor Who. There's ways of doing that. Use an actual synthesizer. Use anything. I don't know. I'm not an instrument expert. But yeah, I didn't understand that. It was the definition of tonal whiplash. When that scene starts, the I Need a Hero thing, when it first starts, it's the very beginning. We don't know who this is. We don't really know why they're doing this except to cause chaos. So when it plays that song, you hear that song, you're like, oh, a hero should be here. There are no heroes here. You could say, oh, maybe the TVA are the heroes. And well, supposedly, but they're getting their asses kicked.
No.
So that's not really helpful either.
Yeah.
Here's what I
Here's your
see.
heroes getting their butts.
I know!
Here's
mean,
what
hero.
here's how I see it.
Yeah.
And this was just kind of it's meant more to be like a throwaway gag because they go into the Ren Fair and they go into the tent where I'm assuming they have like the joust. And this would be the music that they're playing while the jousts are going on, their action scene. So for that much, I can defend it. But the fact is, it's also like this throwaway gag that really doesn't have much in the grand scheme of the episode and just feels very out of place.
Not to mention, people are obsessed with the 80s right now. Stranger Things. They're obsessed, to me, to the point of annoyance.
It's dying down.
It's completely dying down. So this scene was set in the 80s, and you want to use an 80s song? That's fine. Use one. There are millions of ones to choose from. You could have put 99 red balloons and it would have made more sense. There are so many better things. Do the safety dance. Do anything else. Do Wang Chun.
Safety dance.
None of it. There are so many other things you could have used besides that.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
He was gonna say that. We were talking about that earlier, and we were like, that would have been a better
That
song.
would've been- play
You
the
read his
Rocky
mind.
theme.
Yeah, play the Rocky theme. Do anything else.
Did we get the beat for Rocky?
Only if we can afford it.
I did see somebody comment on the choice, and they tried to reason why they chose it, and it's because in that scene you have Sylvie enchanting someone and using her to fight them, and in Sylvie's mind she's the hero that's trying to take down the TVA.
Right, but at the time when we're watching it, we don't know that.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
we don't know
we
she's
don't know
a
anything
hero yet.
Yeah, we don't know anything
We think
about
she's
this
the
person.
villain.
So
I think that's supposed to be like a foreshadowing thing as to like she wanted to be a good person, she wanted to be a hero, and that was ripped away from her.
We
and
didn't
now
even
she
know
really
she was a she.
we didn't know anything.
Yeah, honestly, it would have made more sense if that was like background music for the jousting, and they were like splicing it in between them fighting and them jousting. That would have made more sense. But yeah, the fact that they just played it straight during a fight scene, that was the weirdest, most stupidest shit I ever saw.
It was I'm just a girl, Captain Marvel all over again. It was dumb. It was really dumb.
Yeah, and in terms of the TVA, I know you said you had a lot of stuff. Like, I know we talked about
it was so, like, at one moment they seem all powerful, next they're like the Keystone Cops. Everyone's human in a galaxy of established aliens. They only chose human variants.
Yeah, there was a very small lack of diversity, both in TVA and in the places they went, when you think about it.
It's all set in the 1970s. Maybe some of my earlier gripes get explained. Oh. Like, I'm like, they're in a place with flying cars. Why is this guy obsessed with a watercraft?
Have you ever been on a jet ski?
Yeah.
They are fun. They really are, in his defense.
But then you get why. Later.
I wonder why they chose humans, because maybe they're more malleable. Maybe they tried aliens. Well, because we are so stupid. So maybe they're just more easy to manipulate.
But they mentioned that they had...
race.
Yes! But they mentioned before they had aliens brought into the place. They had Skrulls, they had Titans, and like other...
But were they middle management, or were they...
They didn't work there, but they were like creatures that they took off the timeline in there. But even with all the other people we see as part of like getting charged for crimes, like we didn't see them.
And to add to your point on the lack of diversity, it's like we even go to Lamentus and everybody there is humanoid.
Honestly, I can't remember a single alien. I think, honestly, I don't care. Loki's the closest we have.
There
to
wasn't.
an alien.
No, there really wasn't.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Unless there were Skrulls. Was that what they're called, Skrulls?
Yeah, the shapeshifters.
So unless there was that, but that's a cop-out. But other than that, there wasn't.
I think there was like one in the background of the first episode, but you don't even see it. I get they probably put all of their budget into like the backgrounds and the special effects and whatnot, but it's like, you mean to tell me that they have no aliens working for them, they don't have any aliens waiting there, it's weird to me.
What if, like, we don't know how big the TVA building is? We do see that one thing in the first episode where he shows them the window and it's just this huge universe. What if there's, like, an alien division of that office on the other side?
Mobius did mention there was, like, one division. He's like, I'll help you burn that to the ground, so.
Sure, yeah, maybe there's just different offices, different divisions of that. Like, there's the Skrull sections over here, the Titans are over here. Maybe it's more like that, more organized.
They're all segregated. Because Kang is racist.
I mean...
Maybe they are in the Skrull section.
I mean, I don't know. He's crazy. Who's to say he's not racist?
I guess each race handles their own or something.
Maybe, or there's some race war and they were like, we don't want humans messing with that.
But they mentioned other like, again, Skrulls, Titans, and so on have been through there. It's just, I don't know.
What about Asgardians? I mean, that's a different race, right?
I mean, Loki is Asgardian technically, so that would count.
I don't know. That's kind of splitting hairs.
I don't know, maybe we'll have more of a budget next season. We'll actually see more of diverse aliens and whatnot.
Well, I mean, I don't really know much about Marvel except the stuff I used to watch on Linkara a long time ago. So, like, I don't know what other aliens would be there. That'd be more your forte.
Yeah, I mean, like the Kree and the Skrulls. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty.
I mean, look at Guardians of the Galaxy. They have all the diverse aliens there.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
Was it Shintari, I think, is also one?
Chitauri,
yeah.
I thought they were all dead, though.
Well, the army was. I don't think the entire race is dead.
And that bird race with Landra, the woman that Professor X was screwing around with. They're like humans, but they have feathers.
That's X-Men.
Right.
X-Men are still, I think that's still Sony, right?
It's Marvel.
It's Marvel now. They haven't fully incorporated it yet. So.
Yeah,
because it was Fox.
They might not do that. That's a whole other corporate bullshit thing.
The point is, put more aliens in season 2. God damn it.
Yeah,
more diversity. Explain why they're not there.
Or just say they're Skrulls. Maybe show one at a desk for a split second, show the alien face, and then show it back to them.
Increase the makeup budget.
Yeah, sure. Use practical effects.
Speaking of makeup, practical effects, and all that, the look of Loki, the makeup, the costumes, special effects, the sets, and all that. There are times where it does look good, and I can see the amount of work they put into it, and then other times it looks so ugly. Just the TVA is one of the most ugliest things I've ever seen. Like all those ugly orange, yellow, browns. It's just like
it's like you couldn't mesh different things from time into it.
They were trying to go for a retro vibe, and retro stuff had ugly colors. Let's be real. There were a lot of ugly colors.
With that. Yeah, my mom moved to like a place temporarily on the shore that was built back in the 70s, and it honestly looks like something out of like a 70s porn with like the weird like tiles and the old school microwave and these nasty orange carpeting and stuff. It was I'm like wow,
shag rugs.
something like that. It was like worn down over the years, but I'm like looking at this and like, who thought this was a good idea?
I know. Ugh. I don't know about the makeup and stuff because there wasn't that much, but shout out to whoever made Loki's wig because there's just constant this,
back and forth,
and it never comes off, and he's running around and battling, and it never comes off, and you didn't even see the wig line. So shout out
that
to
is
that.
a wig, or he didn't dye his hair?
I thought it was a wig.
I thought it was just his hair.
Discuss.
Okay.
It's a wig.
Discuss. I don't remember if there was other makeup. You know, there were no aliens.
Yeah,
so we
I
didn't
know.
see anything, and there weren't battle scars or blood or anything. I mean, the only special effect makeup would be Loki Gator. So I don't know. But in terms of special effects, there was one thing that kind of bothered me. When they were on Lamentis, there were a lot of times where it looked fake. And I know you're like, oh, and they're on an alien planet, it doesn't look real. What? I know. But the way it was shot sometimes, it looked like you could tell they were on a green screen. Which is so weird because this is Marvel, and they've been doing this for years, where it looks seamless. So it's like, what happened here? Where like, they try to go to that lady's house, and they're standing there, and it's like, it looks so fake. Or when they're that one long shot where they're running around trying to get to the Ark, it kind of looked fake, even though I do love long shots. Mm-hmm. It was weird, and I'm just like, you guys make billions, maybe even trillions of dollars at this point. What's going on?
To add to that point, and even like we were watching TV Sins, and even they were bringing this up, it's like, there are chunks of planet or moon coming at Lamentis constantly. The ground is supposed to be shaking, but you don't see anybody reacting to it the way they should be.
But there's like a slight breeze in the hair. Just ever so, like
it completely ruins the illusion. I mean, granted, there wasn't much illusion, as you said, a lot of it looked very fake, but still, it's like, at least shake the camera a little more. That's when you want shaky cam. That's when you want to make things look like, oh my god, things are kind of ripping apart. There should be urgency here. And they're just kind of strolling along like, woo.
They seem to just give up at that point.
Yeah.
So I guess they were like, well, if the characters are giving up, maybe we should too. It'll fit the vibe, right? I still don't understand why they couldn't just fucking fly away. But that's a whole, we already talked about that. But well, what did you think of the effects and everything?
You know, I think it was fun. It wasn't really a focus on effects. It wasn't an effects-driven show at all. I think the backgrounds did look really fake sometimes. You could tell they were a green screen.
I think part of that too is because, as I mentioned in a past video, they were trying to go with the color themes of all the Infinity Stones. Like I said, the first one, when you have the TVA, was ugly orange. You know, that's the was it the Soul Stone? Was it?
So what are you saying, that like when they went to different places, the background was a different?
Each episode, all 6 episodes, each one had a color scheme in relation with an Infinity Stone. So the first one you had orange when they were in the TVA. The second one was red when they went to Roxcart place when they meet Sylvie.
Yeah.
You had purple when they were on Lamentis. You had blue when they met the Timekeepers. You had green when they went to the Void and she enchanted Eliath. And then you had yellow, which was the cracks in Kang's palace.
Holy crap! I did not know that. Wow.
I didn't notice at first. Like, I thought that was just like a choice or something, but then people were pointing it out on the Facebook groups. And I'm like, let me see if there's any like water to this. So I paid attention through all the episodes. I'm like, yeah, they each go with the individual color schemes, and it kind of, I guess, is in relation to what they each represent. You know, in terms of like time, soul, mind, so on and so forth.
Let it also be known that whatever show you're watching at Marvel's, whether it's WandaVision or this or Falcon and Winter Soldier or whatever, their attention to detail can be stunning sometimes. Like, truly stunning. And I'm a person who loves attention to detail. If a movie has a detail that I don't see, I'll watch it more than once to catch. I live for that stuff. So them doing that, and not even realize it, I've already watched it twice. If I was a big fangirl of it, I'd watch it again for that. But I love things like that. I really do. I do. I really do. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. The cinematography in this could be really beautiful sometimes, really artistic, and I love it.
Yeah.
And then other times it's just baffling, especially the camera work.
What do you mean?
Like, there are scenes where I do like the camera work. Like, I know you said that whole continuous shot of them running toward the Ark on Lamentus. I actually really dug that because it showed the intensity of the scene, the desperation, wondering if they're going to get crushed by everything, if they're going to make it. Like, I actually really like that. But then you have other scenes with the camera, like the openings of the last 2 episodes, where it's just sweeping in over all of these sets and stuff. And it's like they handed a drunk a camera and he put it on a drone and it's just flying all over the place. And I'm like, hold still, I'm trying to focus. Like, it's nauseating at times. Like we were saying, we were glad we didn't see this on like a big screen or something. Otherwise, we'd probably get motion sickness or something.
Whoa.
Like, whoa.
Can I also say I know this is kind of sidetracking, but I loved those bird creature things and that planet with all the
the void.
I love those little things. I don't know what they are. I don't know how they function, but I love them, and I kind of wish they were in the next generation of Pokemon. I liked them. I thought it was cool. I didn't get it.
They're like little Dr. Seuss characters.
Right, with like no head, but also like a ball. Mm-hmm. So it just, I don't know. I thought that was cool. I don't know.
And somehow they survive.
They survived this. Ding! I mean, we don't know the plant life and flora and fauna of that world.
But no, they got rid of those. They sent those birds to the end of time, and now they just survive like the Lokis.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Maybe they are Lokis.
They know what they did. They can never return.
Again, I do like the artistic choice in this. At times is really good, at times not so much. I hope it gets a little better in season 2. At least is a little more consistent. And again, knock off the weird artistic like camera swings and stuff. I know framing is essential in visual storytelling, but when you're doing whatever for the sake of artsy, that's when it just gets annoying.
Well, that's called pretentious.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Can we backtrack for a moment?
Sure.
Because I wanted to talk about the MacGuffins, and I'd forgotten a lot of them because they pissed me off. But we need to talk about them because there were so many of them for no reason. A MacGuffin is something used sparingly, if at all. Like a classic example of the Maltese Falcon. That's a MacGuffin. Or like in the
Maltese MacGuffin.
Yes, or like in the Dead Zone, which is a great movie where the guy finds out he can see people when they die, but then that's not even the focus of the story, it's something later. That's a good MacGuffin. You use them sparingly, but this had so many. Why was Loki J.B. Cooper? Why was Mephisto? Why was Mephisto involved in this thing for a split second? I don't know. There were so many more that I forgot.
Sylvie is a MacGuffin because you think that she's like this evil menace, and she turns out to be the ally. But the Time Lizards are MacGuffin because they're robots.
Fuck yes! Like, why are there so many? I know this is about time travel and how things are not linear and it's supposed to be confusing. Why would you add on to the confusion and make people annoyed and more confused?
I wouldn't say that Sylvie's a MacGuffin because she's an active player in her own story. She drives the story. And yeah, I know Kang's technically manipulating her into completing all these events so that it has the outcome he wants. But it's not like the others are just like sort of carting her around or something and she's just there. I mean, a good example of a character MacGuffin, think Grogu, Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian. Technically speaking, he's a MacGuffin. Everybody in the universe wants him, and he just sits there looking cute.
I know, but he's so cute. How could you get mad at him?
I know, but that doesn't distract from the fact that he's still a MacGuffin. Any story where you have like an adult character that has to watch a child that the enemy wants for some unknown reason, that's a MacGuffin character.
But I want to be a bee.
Yeah, but with Sylvie, that's not so much because she's an active participant in her own story.
But maybe I'm thinking differently. MacGuffin is, to me, it's like a twist. You're promising one thing, but you deliver on something that not only has nothing to do with anything, or is just in a vastly different direction, but it's just not impressive. It's not done for any reason but to throw the viewer off.
You mean a misdirection.
Yeah. Because a MacGuffin is something that it's really not of importance. It just is there to get the story moving.
Well, it's supposed to be important, but then it gets sidetracked.
Yeah, it's like you're presenting something. It is kind of like that because you're presenting something to me that you're telling me is going to be important, and then it's not. It's not. We tricked you. We misdirect. We did it for the sake of misdirection.
I think what you're thinking of is like a red herring.
Like communism.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean...
They did have those. They definitely did have those.
Yeah, in that case, Sylvie and the Timekeepers are red herring. So you think Sylvie is going to be the enemy we're going against, who's like another Loki. But no, it turns out she actually is fighting against the real enemy, which is the Timekeepers. But it turns out the Timekeepers aren't the real enemy. They don't even exist. It's another villain. So yeah, in that case, those are red herrings. Those are misdirections.
Everybody got that?
But yeah, in terms of MacGuffins, like, the purpose of them is to basically drive the story, is to be the thing that everybody wants for whatever reason.
I don't know. It just seemed like there were so many things going off in different directions. Like maybe someone needed a little Adderall. Like I know it's about timelines and nonlinear plots, but you can do that without going overboard. You know what I mean?
Well, let's look at the purpose of everyone. Loki's initial purpose was to
He's
escape.
fucking hot. Sorry.
Was to first escape the TVA, then to take over the TVA, then to help Sylvie take down the TVA, and now it's to basically save all of time and space.
And find her.
Yeah, and then her purpose is like the most consistent throughout this. Hers was to take down the TVA, which only slightly changed to her taking down Kang, who formed the TVA. In that case, we have the consistency there. But, I don't know, in terms of MacGuffins, like, I know you mentioned the whole Mephisto thing, but then again, they didn't actually say Mephisto. Everybody assumed Mephisto because that's been a running joke since WandaVision.
So a woman comes and ruins that place, and they ask the one witness who did it, and the witness points to a devil that, they both have horns, but they don't look like the monster that you're pointing to.
It's not the same size, it's not the same height, and I don't know.
Well, keep in mind, this is during the Renaissance era, or during, like, the Dark Ages, where people didn't educate themselves beyond probably the age of 10. So everything they learn is verbally through the Bible, so no matter what it actually looks like, if it, like, has something that resembles what the devil's supposed to be, they automatically assume that's what it is.
Yeah, I guess that was just wishful thinking.
She looks like a woman. She looks like a blonde-haired woman. No one's gonna think she's a devil, even if she's wearing cute little dainty horns. Yeah, and he spoke to that little girl in her language. She could have just said, some lady.
Yeah, they're probably a dumb kid. So.
But it's a misdirection. It's a cheap misdirection. Like a lot of times, Marvel does this. They want to misdirect you, and the reward is like a throwaway joke. Oh, the worst is Iron Man 3, because I am such a Mandarin fan as the villain. His powers are awesome, he's an epic villain, and the misdirection is so disappointing. You're promising us one thing, and what you deliver is incredibly disappointing, and you just kind of make it into a joke, or a quip, or something to just be thrown away. But it's like, really, it's a waste of time, and it's a lame misdirection. Star Wars movie was full of them.
Well, that's a whole other can of worms. That's a whole other video you probably make. So.
It's like those type of misdirections where the screenwriter wants to be clever, and it does fill up a chunk of time of your movie, but do we really need it? Did it enrich our experience for this?
Honestly, that added to the frustration of the ending, because you keep thinking, oh, it's going to go in this direction, oh, it's going to go in this direction, oh, this is what we got. Well, that's a letdown.
The more you do this, the more imaginations are running wild, and then what you give us, it's got to be good. You're setting your expectations kind of high.
That's the other thing, though, with expectations. You shouldn't have them, but it's hard not to have them. But then, like, when you have them, you get disappointed, but it's like, I don't know. I'm getting philosophical.
I can understand it in a TV show almost, because you have to split the episodes and you always have to end on a cliffhanger. And it's just the oldest thing in TV shows where the cliffhanger isn't even like what you're dealing with when you come back. You know, there was a threat there, and like, whoa, what are we going to deal with? But when you come back, it's not as big of a threat. It's just the drama to end the episode on.
Yeah, a lot of shows do that, and it's very frustrating.
Well, almost all TV shows do.
Not all.
Anything that tries to make drama, that's what you save it for. I mean, I can remember some TV shows, it'd be a commercial break where someone's in peril, and when they come back, the peril isn't as bad. They're able to just easily get away. Super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the worst, I think, offender is the episodes that they ultimately don't do anything up until the last few minutes, and that's how they get you. There's no real substance to the episode except for that ending. It's like they've just wasted your time.
Walking
Should we do
Dead was
something?
great
We
for
should
that.
do something.
Should we do something?
We should do
This
something.
isn't what if.
Or is
But it's like, I do kind of feel a lot of shows are doing that a little more. Some of them, yes, some of them, they do have some substance or at least jokes, but ultimately, nothing really important happens. Nothing that anybody's going to be talking about until the end, and that's because they've got you by the balls there.
Yeah.
That sucks. I don't know if this show did that much, did it?
No, not really.
There were cliffhangers where they weren't like dire.
I mean, once or twice, but it wasn't like WandaVision where like every time they
Yeah.
ended, like something was like happened, and you're
Cataclysmic,
like,
yeah.
what? I need to know.
It's like, filler is okay, but I'm kind of getting upset with a lot of these shows just constantly being serialized. You have to watch the next episode. You have to wait for the
filler.
next
I don't
season.
know if filler is okay.
Filler is okay.
Filler
and-
should have a purpose. This is the moment where your character developing
Yeah.
in a meaningful way. Something that's going to make us... Werner Herzog would call these people garbage collectors for just filming nonsense. There should be a reason. If you're focusing on something, there should be a reason for it. And I was a fan of Walking Dead for years. And they did exactly what you said, where it would just be so much of nothing fucking happening. And then at the end of the episode, they would do something that would make you want to watch the next episode.
That sucks.
Exactly.
That really sucks.
Exactly.
I do remember you saying
And
that.
after so much of that, I was watching a season of The Walking Dead, and they get to the third season. I watched one episode, and I'm like, I can't with this anymore.
Yeah, like I get it. You're trying to I don't know. Some things are more of a slow burn.
Yeah.
They're trying to immerse you in the experience of what it is.
Yeah.
But
It's like you can only drag someone along for so long before they finally say, enough. I'm out of here.
I agree though, filler,
Yeah.
as much as people don't like filler, it is necessary because
Mm-hmm.
not every episode can be boom, 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 this, that, blah, blah. You can't have that all the time because that would be exhausting.
Yeah,
You
that-
need to have some downtime.
That's what I'm saying. That episode of Falcon Winter Soldier where they take a lot of time out and just have character development. That's
I like that. I
yeah,
like that.
but yes, there is an example of this that we're talking about the final episode of Loki, where it is like boom, 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 and then they slowed the pace down, and now you're getting an exposition dump. Are they doing it in the best way? That's what you got to think about. Like, well, are they using the viewer's time to its best capacity?
Not really.
It's like when you get to the end of a video game and you're expecting the big boss battle. Instead, it's a guy that just goes on and on and on, and you can't skip the scene until he's done.
Yeah.
and then he's down in one hit.
He's been showing me Chrono Trigger, and I think we've had a couple people like that.
They talk before the battle, and then
Yeah.
the battle ends up being one attack.
Yeah.
Even though we're not as mad as we were when we first saw the episode, we still kind of have a lot of the same problems. I mean, I have managed to rethink a few things, but overall, I'm still not satisfied with the ending, and I really do hope we see an improvement in the second season.
We're not mad, we're just disappointed.
Yeah.
Go to your room. No. But I completely agree. They need to step it up. But also, I think they're going to because they're building the movie. They're building the next multiverse movie, which, by the way, I am psyched about.
Oh yeah.
So after that, whatever happens, they'll take that with them to the show, which means that it will be stepped up because we're dealing with all kinds of crazy stuff right there, I think.
Right.
All crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the show does what it sets out to do. It creates the multiverse. That's the whole purpose of this. That's what we got. It's just the execution in the last bit is where it really falters. Again, I just hope that they learn their lesson and make things better, more consistent in the next season.
Agreed.
Any predictions or anything you want to add for what you hope for season 2?
He gets another nude scene.
Won't have anything to do with Kang. It'll be something completely new, another step in Loki's journey. Probably we'll have Sylvie there, probably we'll have Mobius there. Maybe he won't be part of the TVA. TVA might not even be part of anything by then. If we're talking, years in the future,
Yeah.
I think all these movies, they're going to have their multiverse phase and then it's going to be over with. And I don't think Loki 2 will be dealing with anything from the events of Loki 1.
And that's the thing, since we're dealing with multiverses and stuff, I don't know if I can make a prediction because whatever I feel like I'm going to say, I don't know if it's going to happen because things are going to be changing all over the place. I don't really have a prediction.
And a Georgia from a different multiverse will probably argue against what you're saying, and then you're going to have
And
to...
saying more Tom Hiddleston nudity!
And there's going to be war between the multiverses, all because you couldn't make up your mind on what you think will happen.
All joking aside, I really don't know what to predict. I mean, there's stuff I would like to see. I'd like to see more Mobius. I'd like to see more B-15. And, I wouldn't mind seeing Sylvie again. I really don't know what to say.
I want to see an army of Lokis.
Oh, that'd be so hot.
Like Loki's like defining moment where he decides to rise up against Kang's army or whatever bad guy, and he just summons all of his variants and becomes like the end game scene, but it's all just Loki.
With him at the
forefront.
He's sitting on like Kid Loki's shoulder, like yeah.
He just launches himself at Kang and bites his face off.
Yes, that would be amazing.
That'd be the best ending ever.
That would be amazing. But he could do that line like, "I have an army." And then,
I'm a gator.
Yeah, just do like that, like Game of Thrones style, just whoop, and they all come up.
That'd be a good to come around for him. Like, I have an army. Literally.
Yeah. But I really don't know what to predict. Do you have any predictions, dude?
Here's what's gonna happen.
Stuff.
Season 2, we get Stephen Root added to the cast.
Really?
He's a bureaucrat with the TVA. Wears glasses, goes by the name Milton. He keeps getting his desk moved.
His staplers be decked with
Stapler,
jewels.
yeah. He's
With
going to be
infinity
working,
stones, yes.
working in the basement of the TVA. And Sylvie comes back and she charms him. And he lights the whole whatever the TVA is on fire.
You know what?
Perfect.
Better yet, he would just do it on his own. She wouldn't even have to charm him. He'd be like, you know what? Don't touch me. I'll do it.
No, she'll take his stapler and be like, he did it.
That would be epic. But actually, kidding aside, I could see Stephen Root as a character
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
show. Like, I don't know what, but I could see him.
He can disappear at any role.
Yeah,
It makes
yeah.
sense.
He was good in He-Man.
Should be the new Wolverine.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
He's a Logan variant.
Middle management Wolverine. That would be incredible.
That's perfect.
No, if you really wanted middle management Wolverine, it'd be Gary Cole. Yeah, I'm gonna need you coming on Saturday, or else, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or else I'll remove half of all life from existence.
Yeah, I better get that TBS report. Okay.
The TVA report.
Oh, yes, the TVA report. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
that'd be a great cameo then.
Oh my god.
Somebody has
Yes.
a case of the Mondays. What even is time?
Yeah, when is a Monday?
What's a Monday?
We're already writing a better season. 2.
Someone call Gary Cole and Stephen Root, please. They would
Someone
be
pay
amazing.
us. We'll make this happen.
Yes, yes. And I will personally help Tom with the costumes.
Office Space cameos in the TVA would be very funny, Marvel.
It's no, but
Be.
seriously.
I don't know who owns you. I think it's Warner Brothers.
It's
You-
me. What do you mean?
Oh,
It's
Fox.
now.
Fox had Office Space, so
Oh.
now it's
So
under the
technically
Disney.
it is under the
Yeah.
Disney banner. Ha! Perfect.
Get on it. Get on it.
It's not a bad idea.
I love it.
Just
I
saying.
love that.
Milton is a Disney princess.
And throw The Office in there if you can too. Why not? Any
Oh,
office,
you mean the TV show?
Yes, any office-related thing that you can do, throw it in.
Someone needs to throw a printer at someone during the banner.
Why isn't Steve Carell in the MCU? He should be.
He probably will be
Give
at
him
some
time.
point.
He
Yeah.
Should be. He's
And
amazing.
just have Mobius and Loki walking through discussing what's going on with Kang, and then you just see hardcore parkour! And just dude jumping off the desks. Don't even acknowledge it. Just like let it be in the background.
That would be amazing. Truthfully, I'm looking more forward to the movie than the show.
Yeah.
Because I really want to see what happens. Because those are, you know, Tom Hiddleston, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Elizabeth Olsen are all such amazing actors. And then given these incredible characters, I'm really more excited about that.
You get the first
Same
shot
here.
of Evil
Yeah.
Kang in the Ant-Man movie, though.
But seriously though?
Yeah, he's the villain in Quantumania.
Yep.
Whatever that means.
Wow. Okay. I don't even know how that would fit in the timeline of TVA.
It doesn't. It
Well, I
doesn't
mean,
have
it's
to.
the quantum realm, so there's that whole thing.
Which
And
means
like I
there
said,
it goes. Yep.
there
my
is-
brain stopped.
But I still have that theory that the TVA is located in the quantum realm.
Who knows where
Well,
it
that could
is?
be because it does operate at different rules,
Yep.
and time slows down. Maybe
That just makes
that
me dizzy.
that would be a natural. That's a pretty good theory.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that actually. You mind if I subscribe to it? I'm not stealing it.
Hit that like and subscribe button.
Okay,
Ring the bell
wherever
for
it is.
notification.
Yeah.
Something.
No, excuse me. Smash that subscribe button.
I think I found
that's what the
it.
kids are saying, right?
Oh no, I hit the little X at the top of the
No!
corner of the screen. Oh!
And now we don't exist.
We just disappear like dust.
I knew I would
I
cause
don't
all of us
feel
not to
good.
exist.
That's the Nexus event. You didn't say. You hit the wrong button instead of subscribing.
Amazing.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to jail.
TVA jail.
Space jail.
You got to watch the Rocky and Bullwinkle Miss Minutes talk.
Oh god.
Yeah. Well, good, because I can't understand exposition unless you present it in a colorful cartoon.
With Tara Strong.
With Tara Strong, yeah.
She can do no wrong.
Hey y'all!
Tara Strong can do no wrong. That's her catchphrase.
Nah.
It should be. Ooh, this is fun.
No, this was a fun discussion. I'm glad we did this. And yeah, I know we have a while before season 2. I mean, right now we have What If going on. I believe as of the time of this video, the next one is going to be about Loki. Because Lord knows we haven't gotten enough of him. I don't know exactly what the storyline is in terms of him. I think maybe he uses Asgard to invade Earth instead of the Chitauri. I think that's what it is. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, that's what we have next, and of course after that we have other series, we have Hawkeye, we have other movies like Shang-Chi, we have
The Eternals.
The Eternals. There's no shortage of stuff. But we'll be back and we'll reveal all that stuff in good time. But until that time, I'm Kat MacBerrie.
I'm Doug MacBerrie.
I'm Gigi.
And I'm JoJo's variant.
Is that a JoJo reference?
Nani?
Nani?
You've been Iggy the
To
whole
be
time.
continued.
You've been Iggy the whole time.
You thought this was a Loki show, but it was actually JoJo.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Till next time when we control chaos, or at least attempt to. Later, everyone. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Punch.
Here, you need the glove for that.
Yeah. Infinity punch!
On.